What is going on, everybody? We are actually relatively on time tonight. For my summer hours, this is on time. So yeah, welcome to the playground. We are back at our normal time, normal night. Want to give a shout out to everybody who is already here. Hero Down Under, Josh Warawana, Goku 1973. Thank you all for showing up. Obviously, Will is here as well. We also have a link to Will's channel in the description of the video. That's right, he has a channel. He buys a lot of shit, so he does a lot of mail calls and openings and stuff like that. So go check that out. A couple other folks in here have a channel. Warawana just posted, he said he just uploaded a video, no console required. I have not seen that. And so y'all need to go check that out. And then also, Henry Heck has a channel as well. Haven't seen Henry around in a little bit, but actually isn't. I think he's on vacation still, or he might have just got back. I can't remember. But anyways, tonight's topics. We're going to be talking. It's a lot of just bad news. Sony did a terrible apology. They kind of pulled a Microsoft on this one. It's at that kind of same level. Like it is real bad. Uh, and Xbox marketing is terrible. And I know you're going to be like, well, Thrifty, you just covered that last time y'all talked. I know. That's how bad it is. Like I can't get away from it. Every time I turn around, somebody's posting something else. Hey, look at this crap. And I'm like, all right, well, cool. Um, they did two marketing blunders. Like, one of them, the jokes literally write themselves. And then we will be talking a little bit about the DEI stuff that happened. Microsoft fired one of the teams. Not terribly sad about that. But I want to get into the reason why. And I know Will talked a little bit in the Discord earlier. I know he has some stuff to say on that. And so interested to see where that topic takes us. And then the future of okay, the future of AAA mobile games. It's not good, like a flush down a toilet. Uh, and so we're going to talk a little bit about that. Tonight's articles, you can find each one of them in the Discord. There is a permalink in the Discord. You may join through that link. And yeah, so that links in the Discord for that. Also, if you want, if you're not already, you can become a channel member by signing up. Hit the join button. More than that, though, guys, hit the like, subscribe if you haven't already. You'll hear my glass, my little fancy little drinking glass here. It's full with some stuff tonight because, well, I feel like I'm full of it tonight. So we needed a drink to match. Also, the internet can teach you things. Did you know that if you take Screwball peanut butter whiskey and mix it with amaretto, just a 1-to-1, it tastes like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? I'm not even kidding. It's the most delicious thing. Uh, Anyways, it's literally like a liquid lunch. It's great. Only if you're above age in the city, state, country you live in. Just, pointing that out. Okay. With that being said, guys, you can do all of those things. You can like, subscribe. You can share this out. Please, for goodness sake, share this out. We have 13 people in here, which is actually pretty good for the first 10 minutes of the show. That is usually at about 7. So sweet for doubling. Also, shout outs to a couple people who joined midweek. I had 4 new people become members of the channel. So thank y'all for that. For some reason, YouTube is not showing me your names. So I don't quite know who you are. I'm hoping they fix that. They had a problem with stuff last week, and so now this is like they fixed that one problem, and now we're having another. So I will give you a shout out once I find out who the heck y'all were. Outside of that, here are the other people who have given and who are part of the channel and have become members of the channel and all of that. So thank y'all for that, my friends, my fellow sleeve monkeys. With that, I say welcome to the playground. All right, what the heck's going on, Will? How are you?
I'm good, Thrifty. How you doing, man?
Oh, dude, I'm fantastic. I'm amazing. It's been a good day, been a long day. Worked almost half of a 50-hour paycheck in 2 days, and so I'm happy. How about you, man?
I'm good. Ready for the work week to be over with, honestly.
It's only Wednesday.
Well,
we
we're
got we got two
at the
more days of
halfway
this crap.
point. Yeah, I'm a big I really like shout out to Nelson. He's got to me the perfect schedule. He works 10 hours, 4 days a week and 3-day weekends. And I just think that's just the best schedule, man. You get 3-day weekends and I mean, what's an extra 2 hours a day, right? But yeah, I wish that would be the case.
Bro, what's an extra 2 hours a day? That's our slogan during the summer. Just what's like I was done at 5 o'clock today, and on the way home, mind you, I was like 30 minutes away from home. They sent me a call and said, "Hey, on your way home, do you mind running this?" I'm like, damn it. Like, sure. Why not? They're like, well, we just figured it's right on your way home. Like, yeah, that you just delayed me by an hour and a half. Appreciate it. And so that's that's commonplace though, man. During the summer out here, if the only reason you don't have hours is if you don't want them.
I tell people all the time, um, because nobody wants to. I mean, look, let's just be real. Work sucks, man. Even if you do enjoy your work, it can sometimes feel, you know how it feels. Everybody here works. But what I will say is way better than not, way better than having to figure out just the next bill you're going to pay. And I know it sometimes feels like that, even though we are working, but just imagine times 10, you know? So those long hours during the summer or peak season, I know it's a pain in the ass, but tomorrow you won't remember yesterday. Just get it over with. The night will come or your morning will come and you'll be able to do what you want, even if it's just for a little bit. But it can always be worse. It's the motivational part here.
Yeah, that usually comes at the end. Oh, hey, speaking of motivation, RPG88 gifted one member. Thank you so much. Shami Sham, that's a fantastic freaking name. Shami Sham got gifted that member. Shami Sham, if you're listening, just hop in the chat, thank RPG, or don't. He doesn't care. He does this every week. But seriously, if you hop in, thank him. If not, thanks for listening. Thanks for coming by. Um, okay, so I am just letting y'all kind of know this, just as the community. Uh, I am considering moving the show to Thursday nights. I know Will and I have mentioned it to Will before, um, and he's kind of cool with whichever, but I'm thinking about moving it to Thursdays for a couple of reasons, but the main one being Thursdays and Fridays at my job are usually, even during the summer, those are our two lighter days. Uh, and Monday through Wednesday is catching up from all the overflow from the weekend work. And so I'm thinking about switching over to Thursday, but we've been Wednesday at 8:45 since I started. And so that's almost 2.5 years of live streams that are all here. So I'm not making that jump just yet. But if that does work for everybody, and we can talk about it in the Discord going forward a little bit, but if that does work for everybody, then we will keep the same time, but just switch nights. Because what that can do is that will give me Wednesday nights to be able to set up everything for the show. And unless something just crazy breaks out throughout the day on Thursday, which has been known to happen, uh, I'll just go ahead and have everything pre-set up and ready to go. Instead of Monday night being my catch up from the week, helping out around the house, doing that type of stuff. Tuesday night is generally the night that I have reserved for like playing video games and things like that. So I try not to focus on anything else. And then Wednesdays are always this set up the show, get the show ready, get the show done, and then put the show on. And during the summer, that just doesn't work. During the winter, I have plenty of time. Like during the winter, it's no big deal. I could sit and work on this thing from 3:30 in the afternoon on to when it starts, and it's fine because our hours go way down. But just wanted to throw that out. No, actually, it won't. So that's another reason. Brap does his show at 8 o'clock. I know his show doesn't usually run as long as mine, but he does his show at 8. And I was in his chat, I think, a few weeks ago, and I noticed a lot of the same names. And so there's no reason for one of us to try to pull members from him or, you know, me missing out because people who normally would be over here are over there. And Mooch Crossfire starts at like 5:30 and then goes to like 7:30. Like he's
No, it starts at 7,
oh, starts at
7,
7.
7:30, something like that. I mean, but that is the biggest show of the week out of any of the podcasts.
It's Mooch's.
Yeah.
How many
So
does
you
he have
be,
in there?
oh man, he 1,000
Mm, I didn't realize that.
live, and
I
then
thought
probably like 10, 15, or not 10, 15, then about
uh,
another 3, 5 throughout the week. Yeah, no, it's Goliath, bro.
I didn't realize that. I thought him and Jez ran the same numbers.
It's either 7 or 6:30. Well, he usually runs till about 9 o'clock.
I thought he ran.
Sometimes later, 9:30,
Let me
10.
look that up because I could have swore he usually started at like 7 or not 7, like 5. I could be
Yeah,
very
no.
wrong.
It's like 6:30 or 7 he starts.
He went for 3 hours. And when was this done? Oh, it won't tell me start time. Oh well. Well, that sucks. Anyways, I'll pay attention to that this week. But it's
Yeah, you
just
can
one
just
of
look on the
those.
Twitter. I'll check it out.
Oh yeah. Hang on. But yeah, I'm just seriously main reason is because of work. But if it also can benefit the channel a little bit, then okay, he starts at 6. So that's what it is. Thank you RPG88. Appreciate that. Because I thought he was done by the time uh, I would normally start over here. Like the only thing that would be missed is the intro. And he's pretty freaking. One thing I'll give him, his show does not usually run over at all. Uh, when he says it's going to be a 2 hour show, it's a 2 hour show. When it's a 3 hour show, it's a 3 hour show.
Yeah,
So
7 p.m. Eastern.
okay, so yeah, 6 central. So
So just to give you an example, he ran last week 3 hours, 2:45, 2:30, 3 hours, 3 hours, 3 hours, three
mm,
hours, 3 hours, 3 hours. So he's doing between 2:30 and 3 hours
okay,
every week.
all right. Well, I'll think about it. I might still have to do it just because of my own logistics, but um, anyways, nothing big, nothing major, just possibly a night shift. Uh, that's a double. Speaking of doubles, I've been listening to a lot of rap lately, and so if I just randomly go off on one of my little like rhyme things, just let me do it. It's fine. It's fine. We'll be back to normally scheduled programming soon. But yeah, I've been listening to 2 albums back to back lately, and they're just on repeat because they're fire. And anyways, all right. So let's get into this. Let's start with the first one because there is a lot of crap on here about Microsoft. There's one that's not on here because I didn't know if putting the word ass in one of these things, like in one of these little title headings, would be a problem. So I didn't do it. Henry Heck, how the freaking hell are you, dude? Yeah, that's the other guy that has a YouTube channel. Go check him out too. But let's start with PlayStation. So we all know that PlayStation had been down on their subs, or not their subservice, their PlayStation Stars program. It was down for like all of the days of play. When people would normally spend money on digital and earn points, it was going to be great for everybody involved. But the service went down, and we didn't hear shit from them for like 2, 3 days. And then the most we got was we know about it, we're working on it. Okay. And I think that's about all we've gotten still. Like they knew about it, they worked on it, and hey, guess what? Now it's up. But here's what they did. So PlayStation gave an apology, and they said they have a little gift for us. Okay? God, this is so bad. Is it $5 to the PlayStation Store? Is it, hey, you can pick one of these free indie games under $10? Is it, hey, we're going to give you a small credit on your fee? Hey, are we going to give you extra points because we're stupid? And like we screwed up something or something screwed up for us. Like any of those things? No. No. Here's what you get. Uh, this is from Gaming Bible. It says, drum roll, please. Here's what it is. It's a collectible digital reward. If you log into the PS app right now, you could be the proud owner of the Community Challenge Days of Play 2024 digital trophy. They gave you he goes on to point out that they basically gave you an exclusive NFT that everybody else gets. Like, I know it's small, but seriously, that's the type of shit that it would have been much better if they just came out and said, "Hey guys, we're sorry, we screwed up. See ya." It's like instead of going, "Guys, we got something for you. Here's $1." Like they didn't even do that. They gave us a collectible NFT. Will, do you have anything on this? I just thought it was a funny story to open up with, and dear God, that's awful.
Uh, yeah, I think you're being ungrateful, honestly.
I'm sorry, I was taking
Well,
a drink.
the PlayStation, yes, it sucks. But remember, this is all free. Nobody lost out on anything. I mean, yes, you couldn't use your points if you wanted to, but it still kept track of every single dollar you spent. But the program is completely free, so you lost literally nothing, 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 nothing. For the last 30 years of PlayStation, all the money you spent buying games, this is the first time we actually get a reward for that. This point system. So yeah, it sucks. I mean, I pay attention to it all the time, and I take a look. I mean, I'm every day I'm in the PlayStation store. So it's a little frustrating, but you lost nothing, and the reward they gave you or the apology gift coincides with exactly what the PlayStation Star program's all about. You know, collecting these they're not NFTs, but these collectibles, and you got one, and you still have to claim it. You know, but I just think that it's a free thing. Yes, does it suck? But we didn't pay anything to get in, and it still kept track of your stuff. Now, if they didn't keep track of your money spent, then I think that
Well, sure.
would have been a much bigger problem.
I'm more talking about like okay, so picture this. Somebody has spent money on the store. Somebody's done all and I'm not talking about how it's a good value or a great value or it's not a value. I'm not talking any of that. Yes, it's a free thing. It's just like signing up for a Kroger card. Like it's a free thing. It doesn't matter. I get that. But like people literally had points saved up that they were trying to use and that they couldn't use during the days of play. So on some level there is a hey, I did sign up for your program. I've done my part. Now I can't you can't do yours because I can't use it. And so as an apology, I thought they would have gone more along the line of okay, listen, we know we screwed up. A lot of y'all couldn't use your points, couldn't do anything like that. But, here's 5,000 or not 5,000 points. Here's 1,250 points because that's what equals $5, right? Like, hey,
Yeah, but did we miss any sales? Well, it was. I don't think we missed any sales.
you did. You missed all of the days of play. All of it. And so you missed a big, huge sale of the year. It's one of the top four sales of the year for them. And so I don't know. I just thought that it was like, and then you announce you're gonna give like a little gift or a little like I'm sorry thing, and it turns out to just be a token or a little thing, a little collectible. I don't know. To me, it just feels a little like, come on. Like I said, I would have rather them just come out because it is a free program and said, hey guys, screwed up, my bad, move on. Because that's what I thought they did anyways. Like, and
Yeah,
I
but
was
that collectible, it coincides with what the half the program is. So I mean, some people really like collecting stuff. So for some people, that hey,
That's true
that's one
too.
more that I didn't have.
That's true too.
You know,
I just thought it was funny.
it's like we're looking a gift horse in the mouth. Oh damn, man, I'm doing the no Russian mission, and I
what
hate it.
what are you playing?
Called Modern Warfare 2.
Oh, all right then. Man, you've been into shooters a ton lately.
Yeah, I know I beat all the gears, which we didn't even talk about. My favorite part of the show. Yeah, I beat all the gears the last couple weeks, and I tried playing a little bit of the Halo Infinite. I mean, the shooting in Halo Infinite feels amazing, but the campaign, the even the hardcore Halo guys still don't even know what the campaign's about. And the open world thing, man, it's just it kind of sucks. So it just doesn't scratch the itch. But yeah, I've been into shooters lately.
That's awesome, man. I am still working through, not working through like it's a trudge. I'm still enjoying Jedi Survivor. It is really well done. I think the map still absolutely sucks ass. They tried really hard, and it's at least a little better, but the map is still absolutely terrible. But at the same time, there's people who are like, well, because you're just supposed to explore everything and go everywhere. I get that. But at some point, I don't want to walk around in circles anymore. But I usually also play it at night when I'm super tired. So it's probably some me and some of the game. But the map just
So
feels a little rough.
this is actually a good. I'm glad you brought that up, and this goes for you too in the chat. The games where you you get to explore the map, the world, and find whatever, right? Collectibles or XP or extra weapons, whatever you can get. You know those games, kind of like put that on vibrate, kind of like the Jedi Survivor, where sometimes like in the beginning part of the map, there's sections where you can't get to it yet because you're not high enough level, or you don't have the you
You don't
know
have the thing. You don't have the
the thing.
MacGuffin. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So my question is, do you guys mind it, don't mind it, don't like it, where you have to skip that, go get that skill, and then come back to open up that chest? Or do you want the game to give you the tools required or be able to at least get the things you need in order to close that part of the world out? Because for me, that really pisses me off. I really hate um like in Jedi Survivor, skipping a section of the map and coming back to it later. I
Because
really
I
hate
can't
that.
use this yet.
It's
Shit.
not that. It's more of my OCD where I wanna.
Yes.
If I'm done with this section, I'm done with this section. Like I got everything that I can get. I got all the collectibles, all the intel, or whatever the game has for you, and like I'm done with it, so I can focus. Because when they do that, and Immortals of Avium did that too, you kind of have to keep like some games you can mark it in your map, some games it highlights on your map like it's unopened. A lot of games don't. So as soon as you move past that part of the map, it doesn't show up anywhere. So if you're not keeping a mental note, then you're gonna completely forget about it. Especially these very long games, like Rebirth, where they're 60, 70, 80 hours, and not everybody can do it in a week or two, and sometimes it takes them a few
And you're like,
months.
oh, hey, once I get that chocobo, I can go back to all these chocobo tracks that I just found. Like,
Exactly.
shit. Okay, so on that, so here's what I'll say on that. Because if it's okay, so Henry Heck just hit on it. He said I don't mind. He said I don't mind it in the Metroidvania, and I think that that is absolutely true. So games like Sakuna of Rice and Ruin, games like Fist, Forged in Shadow Torch, like those style of games, totally okay with it. It's been part of those games forever. And it's part of the charm of them because you're like, oh, cool, I'm going to have to come back here. But in those games, they kind of force you to go back to previous sections. And so it's not like you're just going to hit it for the first time, right? And then, hey, in order to get back to it, I have to go through this, 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 and this. Like, it's, hey, you're over here. At least in Fist, it's like, hey, you're over here in the underwater world. Now you're going to come down and go over to the subway. When you get to the subway, you're going to go up and you're going to be back into the main city that you started in. And if you go all the way to the left, you get to the train tracks. And so, like, it it literally like makes sure you're traveling through these areas constantly. And so I I'm okay with it in those games. I'm even okay with it in your RPGs that like take you into an area and then you leave that area for a little bit and then the story brings you back and all of a sudden, oh, there's more things to explore, there's more stuff to see, there's more areas to open. But what's a little annoying is like you said, Will, when you go to this section and it's like, oh crap, I'm right here. I can't do it. And then like you leave and get all the way to the end of the map and you're like, wait, I earned something. That's for something. I can use that. Where the hell was that? Oh, I remember it was close to the beginning. And then you end up fast traveling back to the beginning of the map, and then you end up searching for it for the next 20 minutes. Like, I think it's just a way to keep players in the game for longer, but it's very, very annoying. And a lot of times, the thing behind that wall is like something that increases your health or increases your secondary skill or something like that. And it's really, really frustrating. Uh, Josh, Josh gave us the other side of the coin. Dude, I've beat that game at 99 point, no, I think it was 99.8% or 98%. But anyways, he's talking about Final Fantasy X, where if you miss one thing at the very start, you cannot 100% the game. And there's a few things like that in the game, where if you miss it, you do not get a 100% completion in the game. And so, like, there's two sides, but I think that's a great question because for
Well,
me,
dude,
it's annoying.
imagine the trophy hunters, you know? And like, look, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not a trophy hunter. I'll sometimes go out. Like, I have 19 platinums, mind you, and I beat, you guys know roughly about how many games I beat. So it's not like I'm chasing platinums, but if the platinum is easy enough, then I'll go out of my way and get it. Especially if it's a game that I really like, then I'll try to get the platinum if it's accessible. If it's a little too complicated where I gotta do jump through, I just skip it, no matter how much I love it. But that also frustrates me because like Josh, he's 100%, or point zero whatever percent away from 100% in the game, and like I can just imagine, like how frustrating it is. And you guys, man, some of these open worlds are so damn big. So having to like comb through everything again, it's just like yesterday I was playing Gears of War and I missed something. So I try to reload back to the previous chapter and it's into the very beginning of the chapter, which is like an hour additional gameplay, like or 45 minutes. I quit. I quit the game right then and there. I was like, even though I wanted to continue gaming, and that was my plan is to continue gaming for another hour, but just because I had to redo all that progress over
Mm-hmm.
again, I just skipped it. I was like, you know what, forget this. So even a game that I'm heavily invested in, a game that I enjoy the gameplay, a game that I want to complete, and a game that I will probably end up playing again in 6 months to a year, just that little 45-minute hour mark, or investment again, just completely turned me off and made me want to turn the game off completely. So
Mm.
yeah, that's why I'm asking that question because it's such a pain in the ass for me, and I was wondering, my fellow gamers, what do you guys feel about it?
Well, I mean, stuff like that, yes, I have definitely been there. Um, I was actually, there's a couple spots in Diablo that were like that for me because Diablo, like, you can lose a lot of progress if if it didn't save or if you didn't go back to town or if you die and like when you die it'll take you back to your nearest fast travel point and then you have to walk all the way back through something. That kind of stuff frustrates the absolute piss out of me. So,
So, Thrifty, another question for you in regards to progress, right? Because we're kind of talking about progress a little bit. So, like you mentioned Diablo and a couple other games. So, let's say you're about to, there's a boss fight coming up, and like Remnant 2, for example, you had to cross that like foggy kind of curtain, and once you crossed over that foggy curtain, the boss fight starts. And if you die, most people, they hit that red that big old red rock, I forget what it's called, because there you save your game and the game places you at the very last save spot. So when you guys die, like in Call of Duty that I'm playing right now, you respawn almost immediately where you left off. Some games they restart you at your last save point or at your last like the beginning of the chapter. What do you guys prefer most? Where you restart right when where you die, or you don't mind going back, 30 minutes of gameplay and having to redo the level again?
mm, I much prefer getting to the boss, but or getting right before the boss. And a lot of that is because in a lot of the RPGs and JRPGs that I played as a younger gamer, there was always a save spot before the boss fight. And you found out very quickly and very early on in those games, you don't skip a save spot. Like, if they give you a save spot, it's either because, like in Final Fantasy X, on when you're in the mountains, and you have like the whole game or like this whole big old section, and they give you a safe spot halfway through to recover your mana, recover your HP, and do that. In that scenario, you knew, crap, I have a long road ahead of me. But in other sections, there'd be this big, huge freaking door and a little save crystal right next to it. And you knew that behind that freaking door was a enemy or something that was going to kill you. And so it was like baked into me that like, oh no, you saved before a boss fight. When you die, you start right back there and you go back into the boss fight. And like that's what I've always done. And then I usually avoid games or used to avoid games that when you died you went back to the nearest save point, but that might be 5 screens over and I didn't want to deal with it.
That reminds me of like with shooters, for example. I pick up ammunition from the ground, and let's say the you can hold 300 rounds, right? And let's say, I don't know, I see a window and I want to see if it's breakable, and I shoot it. Now I got 299. I sometimes will go back 10 seconds in real world time, right? Just to go back to where I got the ammo, just to go get that one extra round, so I have to be full. Am I the only one who does that, or is there other people that do that as well? Where you don't really need to pick up the ammo because you're full, you just maybe used a few, but you still go back to the cache and restock.
I
Am I the only one
always
who does that?
no. You always max your ammo. Always. I have accidentally thrown a grenade and gone back and refilled my
Oh,
ammo.
oh, absolutely. Well, the reason I asked is because I was talking to my VP today, and we're on a break, and we're talking about, oh, I forget what game, but he's like, "Yeah, dude, I just, you know, I don't go look for ammo till I need it. Oh, gears." And I said, "You don't go looking for ammo till you need it? Are you crazy?" I mean, even just like shooting your weapon to till it's empty and then having to reload. Like sometimes you just need that extra bullet just to finish killing the bad guy, right? You just needed an extra one or two, and now that you have to reload, that gives the enemy that 1 second to recharge their
And it's because
shield
those
or
one and two
something.
that you accidentally fired off that you didn't replenish.
Exactly. And like I just beat Gears 5 in not the most difficult difficulty, but the second to hardest above normal. Things insanity. I don't know, whatever. But the enemy now become a little bit bullet spongy, where in normal difficulty you can maybe get rid of an enemy with half a mag, maybe three quarters of a mag. if you're not hitting, the correct spots. But on Gears 5 or all the Gears, if you're not, each enemy's gonna take at least a full clip. So I'm like, man, that 2, 3 rounds that I shoot just messing around could really mess me up here. And also, while it takes that many to kill them, is as many less as it takes for them to kill you. So it just becomes this thing like I haven't died that much and had to restart the same damn level just because I was missing a few bullets.
Yeah, it's no, and I think that's a interesting thing to talk about when you talk about types of games and things like that. Just different play styles and play patterns. Like there's a lot of things that there's a lot of things that keep me away from games that isn't graphics, performance, does it run smooth, and things like that. So maybe for one of the shows we'll do a topic about from me more of a selective gamer, uh, and then your side of it from a gamer who literally tries out everything. And that's not a slight against you at all.
Mhm. No, no. Actually,
I'm
I was gonna DM you this, but since we're on the topic, I was talking to Henry, and Henry brought up I think it's a good idea. He says since we have such a varied gamer group in our community,
we really do. We have a
he's
dude that
he
plays
said,
music games. Like
really,
we
that's
got a
amazing.
dude in here that just plays music games, and I was like, oh, like Hi-Fi Rush, and he goes, no, that's more rhythm based. I was like, oh shit, this dude's a real one. Like this.
That's pretty cool. Well, Henry was telling me the idea he said is um a show where it's like a round table kind of deal and everybody kind of talks a little bit about the genre or the type of game they like. So JRPGs, action adventure, turn based, strategy games, and just kind of have a big old discussion and really take it to the core gaming and get people's perspective. So I was gonna DM you that, but since we're talking about it, there you go. And
Yeah,
shout out to Henry for bringing that up because I thought it was a great idea.
it really is. Like, so for me, I am a very, very selective gamer. And, but like, it's really interesting when you start talking about gaming mechanics, and we'll get into the bullshit, guys, we will. But when you start talking about like gaming mechanics and like what stops you from playing a game, back in the day, a lot of times it was save spots. How many save points does this game have? Like, am I going through these big long 1 hour, 2 hour sessions without seeing one? That's not okay. Do you have a way to save on the world map like using a tent in Final Fantasy? Well, that's not okay. Like, does it save automatically? If it does save automatically, do I have to like back long ago when autosaving just started coming out, it literally was a criteria that I had for a video game. Like, if I could still do manual saves with autosaves. Because the autosaves sometimes would F you up real bad. And they would, like, drop you somewhere, and you're like, whoa, why am I in the middle of all these enemies? But now, in, like, current games, it's a game like Jedi Survivor. Okay, cool. If I die in this area, now I have to go back to my nearest gosh dang safe spot, which isn't always near the boss. And you have to go there, then you have to probably go through, fight a few more enemies, and then get back to the boss, then have the boss. It's just a pain in the ass sometimes. And so, like the other night, I was playing Jedi, and I did the same thing that you're talking about. I got my ass kicked by a boss, and I had to go and walk back through everything, and I died again to, like, I finally got to a spot in here where they're throwing more enemies at me, and I got my ass kicked. And I didn't want to have to fight that same group again. So I just shut the damn thing off and was like, you know what? We'll try this shit again later. That's okay. But like most of the time, games like that I would stay away from because
It rem-
I like that safety net. Because, sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say real quick that it reminds me of when I was a little kid, like playing Super Mario World on the Super NES.
Yes.
I got my ass whooped, and it'd be like late at night or whatever. Like, you know what? Go to bed, but tomorrow I'll beat it with fresh eyes, fresh everything. And I
Yes.
did. 90% of the time, I did.
On
And
first
sometimes
try.
it's
A
just
lot of
on
times it was
first
first
try.
try. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you just knew the level. Oh, hey, Josh Ayers, member for 2 months. Thanks, man. 2 months down. Keep up the good work. Thanks, man. It's a good show. It's a good channel. Super appreciative. We're almost up to 550 subs. Yeah. Anyways, but no, dude, it is such a, it's so, it's so hard for me to give my time over to video games if I can't get out of them exactly what I want, right? Because I have, like I've said before, maximum for me is about 12 hours a week. And so because of that, I literally am super selective. And so I love a power fantasy. What's up, Mr. Grimm? What is up, Nick? How are y'all doing? I hadn't seen y'all in here in a minute. Um, but it's one of those things that I'm super selective on. So I also love a power fantasy. That's why I loved God of War Ragnarok. That's why I love Spider-Man. That's why I freaking love Diablo 4, Diablo 3, and Diablo 2 and 1. Like that power fantasy where you can over level and just like breeze through everything. That shit's fun to me. That's awesome. And I know some gamers are like, that's not challenging at all. I hate that. I don't want to do that. That's annoying. I want to be challenged. And I'm just sitting here like, guys, I want to mash buttons and enjoy the game. Like that's it. I just want to feel like I'm the biggest, baddest son of a gun in that freaking game, and nothing is going to stop me.
But I
And
feel like there's so many games now. I say the majority of them where it's not just pushing square. Like you have to
true, that is true.
include square, triangle, maybe one other button. Like yeah, it's like I gave big props to Gears, the first three because it's this, and I put this on X. So if you're not following me, follow me on there, guys.
Yep, link
Where
is in the description.
basically the in the game it's a simple game. Literally, it's a shooter, duck based,
Hmm.
meaning that you duck, you shoot, you duck. So for a casual
It's like Duck
gamer,
Duck
you just
Goose.
like duck duck, yeah. So you can a casual gamer can just come in, play the game, have a great time. But
Yep,
then it also has something for the hardcore too, right? Like for me, for example, I consider myself a hardcore gamer
I would too.
where now I'm not just ducking and shooting. Now I am flanking the enemy. I am using the grenade strategically. When the holes open up, they can only be closed by a grenade or killing all the bad guys that pop out. And
Pause.
sometimes that can go for many minutes. So I'm trying to use a little bit more strategy. Also, the different types of weapons. You're using the um, the rifle versus the automatic rifle with the chainsaw on there. Those weapons have different power levels and also the different types of shots you do. So headshots versus body shots. So now you have something for two spectrums of the gaming world, a casual and a hardcore, and they both can enjoy the same game at their level if need be, not including the rise in difficulty, not including the side missions, not including the collectibles if you want to take it to that level. So if you just Google right now, how long does it take to beat your favorite game, whatever that game is, Uncharted, hey, it doesn't matter, they will always give you a range. They'll
Hmm.
say, well, some players get it done in 10 hours, other players get it done in 18 hours, but the average is about 13. And those are the games that I really appreciate because now you can play the game how you want to an extent and kind of, get that power fantasy like Thrifty's talking about, where you can just set in normal difficulty or easy, customize your controls so the square does basically everything and play it that
I
way.
don't do
Or
all that, but yeah.
or if for example, like some I've been playing on the PS3, Nelson hates this game, Heavenly Sword. Heavenly Sword, you have two attacks, which is square and triangle, and then you can do like little combos in between there. And then also R1, L1, there's three different weapon types. It's the same weapon, but used three different ways. And one way is least amount of damage. The middle one is like medium damage, and then the last one is like a heavy damage. So you can really mix it up with that, or you can just push the square. Now it might take a little bit longer, than instead of using all the combos, where you can still just push square and get the game done that way. So I just find that fascinating.
Hero Down Under said, whatever how long to beat says, I just add 50% more, and that's how long it takes me to beat it. Absolutely, dude.
True.
That's, that's. I have never felt a comment more in my soul than that one. Like, that is absolutely how I play video games. Like, I can't even express how accurate that is. So, example, everybody was beating Stellar Blade in 30 hours, 35, 27, 40 at the most. I have 42 hours in that game, if I'm not mistaken. I think I might have 40. Like, that's a lot. There's a lot of hours in that game, and I'm not anywhere near. Well, I'm about 3/4 of the way through, but like, still, I have 60 hours. No, 50 hours in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and I have Cosmo Canyon left, and that's it. As far as I've understood, like you have Cosmo Canyon, and then it's kind of a streamline to the end. And so, like, I just take a long time to beat video games. Hell, I didn't realize that I had stayed in the Fractured fucking Peaks in Diablo 4 for 12 hours. There's people who say the main campaign takes 12 hours to beat. Actually, they say 12 to 15. But still, I spent all of that time in just the Fractured Peaks. That's
Well,
why. Go ahead.
I just had a question for you because you said that, and I know that we got to get it going. But for games like Diablo, you love Diablo, not Diablo 4 in specific, but just the,
Oh no, Diablo 4
you
is
know,
great. I gave it a 9.
okay, well, Diablos in general, right? Sure, you may have one more that you favorite over the other, but if I told you, for example, yeah, Diablo, I just like to do the main missions, be in and out, get done with the game with 12 hours, does that upset you? Like, it upsets me. Like, when somebody tells me, oh, yeah, I just do the main missions and, I get in and out, play it on easy mode, and that's it. Like, it doesn't upset me, but it's like, I get disappointed in a way because I'm like, dude, that game is so awesome and you're just missing so much of it. There's so many storylines with the side missions and the other quests. Like, you're missing out on so much. So, the question that I wanted to say with your Diablo thing is, do you feel any sort of way when somebody tells you that, like, "Oh, I just zoom past the game and do the least amount possible to get finished with it," or do you just like whatever? Do you play how you play?
So it, so just like your last question, it depends on the genre for me. So
Your favorite game?
well, let me just do Diablo because with Diablo, I'm actually going to give two examples. With Diablo, I don't think that losing out on the side quests or not doing them. Actually, I'll even say this. In the first two Diablos, the side quests were kind of just baked into the levels. Like, if you were on level 5 of the church, I'm sorry, level 3 of the church, you would end up going into the poison water supply or King Leoric's tomb. And it was literally you walked into another room in the dungeon and it was there. So like it wasn't really like a side quest. It was just if you did the whole map, which in those games you always did the whole map. If you just did the whole little dungeon map, you found it. Kind of the same with Diablo 2. Now, Diablo 4, there are more like if somebody said, "Hey, I just did the missions and just ran through it, just wanted to get the story and now I'm done with it." Honestly, I'd look at them and go, "You know what? That's cool." Cuz not a lot of the side missions had any relative content to the rest of the game. They were just fun little side missions. That's all. They were just reasons to go kill more hordes of demons. Now, that being said, somebody looks at me and says, "Hey, The Witcher 3, it only took me 40 hours to beat. Yeah, man, I just mainlined the story and didn't do any of the side quests, nothing." I'm going to look at them and go, "You didn't do the Bloody Baron? Are you didn't do the horse races? You you didn't go visit the three hags and the are what you didn't are you fucking kidding me? You're missing out on so much of the game." It's different for each genre when you ask that question, because sometimes I'm gonna be like, yeah, that makes sense. Like shooters, I don't do a lot of the extra missions or any of the side stuff if there is side stuff in it. I just usually breeze through the main story. In Diablo, doing the side content levels me up faster and lets me min max faster. And in those type of games, I love to min max. But in a game like God of War Ragnarok and I am not saying the side quests in God of War Ragnarok are as good as The Witcher 3, but I just caveat there. But like God of War Ragnarok, The Witcher 3, what are some other ones that had really really good? side quest. Oh, Ghost of Tsushima. Like those, you are missing out on some very good story beats by not doing the side content. So that's kind of where I'm at on that question. Does that make sense? Oh Lord, I talked so long he fell asleep.
Nope, I said yes.
Oh,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Yeah, no, I agree, but I just try to take advantage of every game. I mean, some games I do this though. Games where I
You
played for a
said do
long
do.
time, I just kind of want to get them over with, and I just kind of zoom past. So the very first 80% of the game, I try to find every little thing, and then towards like the last 20%, I'm just like, all right, let me
Mm.
just get this game over with.
So funny enough, that is exactly how I played Diablo 4. I played until the point when I got the mount, to be quite honest. Once I got the mount, the rest of the map didn't fucking matter. I just wanted to get to my next points and do the next thing because I was already so high leveled and it didn't make a difference. And like I was totally cool with that. I think that's why the game takes or makes you wait until the end of Act 3 to get the mount because they knew if they gave it to you beforehand, the game would be over in 6 hours for a lot of people. Because you don't have to travel everywhere. You can just hop on your mount and go. And most of the time, enemies don't attack you. And if they do, they're too slow. Okay, wait a second. Hang on. We have Warawana member for 2 months. Long time listener, first time. Yo, ass is gonna make me read this. I just want to say that I will be using up all 150 of my allocated characters to tell you how I feel about. That's funny. Guys, go check out Warwana's channel. That's good. That's good shit. Thanks, Wara. I appreciate it, man. I was talking to Hero a few days ago, and I remember when it was Hero, myself, Nelson, uh, Byron, and Trails. Trails doesn't stop by much anymore. And, and so like those were all who showed up, and you had RPG88 who would show up as well, and like we had 6 or 7, usually 5 every night. And then we started getting more. We got Warawana, we got Josh. Then we started getting a few more. Then we got Nick. Then we kept growing and growing. We got JC at that time. And like this all happened super quickly. And then we got Will, and I just invited Will on because I liked some of the stuff he had said on another podcast. I think it was another podcast. And I just liked some of the stuff that he said. No, no, we started playing a game to. Hmm.
Yeah, we
Will,
started playing The Ascent
that's right.
a year ago, actually,
Yeah.
June,
So we started playing the Ascent together, and I was like, dude, I like
with
your
Nelson.
takes. I like your takes. Do you want to come on? And he was like, yeah, sure, why not? I can talk games. And like, so from there, everything else is just so. All I'm trying to say is, I see a lot of you in the chat, and a lot of y'all have been here either from the beginning or shortly after, and it just means the world that y'all are still here. Also, what's up, Stephen Leon? How are you, sir? We had Mark Carter. What's up, man? I like the Cyberpunk side quest and driving around or fast travel. Yes. Uh, that doesn't surprise me. You ran out. Yes, you did. Nick, your Trails 2.0. Okay, got it. That makes a lot more sense. Okay. I also like that you have a monkey on your profile picture and the PlayStation Playground. Fuck me. The the playground members are called the sleeve monkeys, so that works really, really well. Okay, so let's hop into some of the stories. We're not going to get to all of them. Hell, we might travel back into gaming. But the first one, it's it surrounds Xbox's marketing, and so there's two stories about Xbox's marketing, And I just have to go over it. And as a matter of fact, thankfully, because of IGN's recommendation system, I can easily do so at the same exact time. So get ready for this shit. That's the wrong one. But it same concept. Look, here's one of the articles. Oh shit, hang on, y'all can't see that. There we go. Here's one of the articles. Microsoft has made an Xbox controller shaped like Deadpool's ass. What's up, James Williams? Oh, JC, member for 1 month. Great show as usual, guys, and great community. Keep up the good work. Apps a freaking lootly. Thank you. Hit that like button, guys. Uh, that's awesome. So, Nick, yeah, you can. It's thrifty ps underscore gr. I tried to get my name on there, but apparently something in PSGR is highly offensive. I have no idea what the hell it is. But we're gonna get into that bullshit tonight too. But anyways, they have made an ass-shaped controller in honor of the Deadpool movie. Guys, you can literally play the most trash ass system with the most trash ass service with an ass controller. I swear to God, I can't make this shit up. I can't, in any way, shape, form, or fashion, make this up. There is an ass shaped controller for the Xbox. That's freaking hilarious. Imagine Microsoft doing this, but it's a female character who's. Damn it! I want my Stellar Blade controller. Sorry,
Yeah,
we.
that's what I was gonna.
I figured, Will. That's why I said it before you did.
I was gonna say the same exact shit. But I honestly, two things. So, or three things.
Go ahead,
The
because we do have some other
the
stuff to
con-
talk about their marketing.
yeah, and it's got to do with the marketing. Well, the first thing is the Deadpool controller is very on brand for Deadpool,
It
right?
is. It's
Like when I
super
saw
cool.
it, it's super on brand. The problem is that it's on brand for Deadpool, but it's also sarcastically on brand for Xbox as well because they're booty. And you also have a guy named Booty who makes a lot of the big
Like,
decisions.
you can't not.
But if Xbox was decent, this would be a great addition. But the fact is, Xbox comes out with more controller than games. Now, of
Yes.
course, they're going to do that, right? Because it's much easier to make a controller. It doesn't cost hundreds of millions to make a controller. But in the sense where Xbox, when's the last first party that Xbox released? Like organic first party. No, it was not Hellblade because they bought that. Before that, no, it was not
Forza.
Bethesda.
It was Forza.
It was Forza.
Yep. It was
And
after
even
Bethesda. It
if,
was Forza.
yeah, and even if you include the shit that they bought as first party, you have a total of what, six, seven games in since 2020? Guys, we're 6 months away from 2025. We are basically 6 months away from rumors that Xbox is going to end the generation a year after that. And that's the sad part about it. But I will give them props because they are doing what PlayStation is not. They are being
Mm.
creative with their accessories. They're coming out with accessories consistently. I mean, we were making fun of them just a couple months ago about the Willy Wonka chocolate controller. Another controller that's on brand for Willy Wonka, but where are the games?
Mhm.
PlayStation is putting out games. They're doing third party deals, second part, all this stuff, but they're lacking so hard on the accessory. Now, yes, they gave us a Portal banger, top selling accessory of the year.
It's about to
I
say, do
think it's
you
going.
do you want number four, number five, and number six on the top 10, or do you just want number one on the top 10? Which one? Which one do
No, but
you want?
I also want more console covers. I also
I do
want more
too.
controllers. I also want a Horizon Forbidden West freaking special edition.
Well,
We used to get those all the time.
and that's the problem though. PlayStation always drops their, and let me not say always. All of their really cool controllers that I've wanted, like the God of War controller, I thought the thing was gorgeous. I wanted one, couldn't get one at the time because it was only available in the special edition and blah 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 blah. And I was like, okay,
Oh, I got one of those.
I love the design of that controller. The powder blue controller is my favorite controller. I love that color. And so like that one had kind of a darker blue to it with all of the etchings and stuff on it and the designs, and I was like, "Oh, that's really cool." I can't go into the store and buy that controller. That's frustrating. Like I should be able to do that. I should be able to go and get or even just a camo controller or a anniversary style. Like what they did with the PS1. Guys, we had colors for days on the
Hmm.
PS1. You had gold, you had black, gray, blue, red, green. Like you had every fucking color you wanted. And the one that I wanted was the gray one with the old style buttons from the PS1. But like Will's right. They don't Xbox kicks their ass in branding of accessories. Now, that doesn't mean they sell a ton. They don't have a large base to sell to like PlayStation does. But like they absolutely kick their ass in that. And I agree, we should be getting like hell, PlayStation, do you realize how much money you can make if you sold us customizable plates? Like where you gave us a
Xbox has that. Their whatever factory for their controllers.
yeah, you can fucking like let me pick from 30 to 50 designs using y'all's IP and y'all laser that onto a fucking thing and send it out. Like people
And
will pay
remember,
$100
Thrifty,
for that.
remember that now it's even more accessible because you can just take the plates off. Before you had to buy the
Right.
whole console. So you wanted a Spider-Man edition console or a Final Fantasy edition, you had to go buy that shit. You had to go spend $300-400. Now you can. It's plastic, dude. Like
Like
there isn't some factory in India or France or in Wyoming that can just make plates, dude.
Indonesia, Taiwan, I see where all these fucking
Anywhere.
things are made. Like can you
Fuck, I
not
mean,
get
my
them to make some
cousin.
other stuff?
Well, have my cousin do it. He works with metal and plastic. Like have him do it. Like come on, it's not that difficult.
It's really not. And the only reason, so one of my buddies powder coated his, and then he carbon fibered them with the carbon fiber vinyl stuff. And the way he did it though, like because of the texture and all the little PlayStation symbols on the plates, you have to like scuff it up real good to get the adhesive to stick. And I just can't do that with my plates. I want my PlayStation plates to have all the lovely symbols, but I want these awesome cool pictures and art and the IP. Like I would get one with Horizon, I would get one with God of War, and I'm not even kidding, guys. Like I would be a sucker for those things.
And Thrifty, you know what's another thing and that's a pain in the ass? Not just that they're not coming out with enough, but also it's kind of like they're putting their foot in your way. And what I mean by that is they're also
Yeah,
making it hard for you to go out and do this stuff yourself. Like for example, the
dark
white
plates.
plates are perfect. Yeah, dark plates is a big example of that in the beginning. And I can understand that because they're going to come out with their own shit. But even like the white plates, you cannot buy a pair of white plates. The white plates are a perfect canvas for artists. I was just talking to my cousin who is an artist. He likes drawing and all this. He's like, dude, like just this plate, let me mess with it. I'm like, no, because then I can't replace it. I cannot replace a white plate. I can get
Exactly.
any other color, but I cannot get the white. So it's just little things like that where PlayStation not only is not doing it, but it's kind of like they're putting their foot in the way so you can't go ahead and do it yourself. And like I get business, right? I'm in business myself. I'm in product development, marketing. I do all these things, not at the scale of, a multi-billion-dollar company, but at $100 million company. And yes, it is hard. And yes, it costs money, but not as much as you think, especially when this is what you do, meaning they already have the setup for the plates. They already have a manufacturer, distributor. Like with technology now, you can basically do anything with a program, an app. It takes very little man hours. I mean, a contract some dude on Fiverr to design your shit. You have the option: get a $5 guy, $100 guy. Fuck,
No,
get the
dog.
$50 guy.
Go to fucking Etsy. Like
And,
those
yeah, right.
those assholes are creative on that webs on
Creative.
that play. Like, that shit's great. Like, but no, but here's the thing, because Steven brought up a good point. Steven said, "I'd rather have games than controllers." Means nothing to me. And I get that. Like, but at the same time, we had slim pickings when, how do I say this? So, PlayStation does a lot of solid colors. There's not a lot of flavor. There's not a lot of pizzazz, as it were. As where Xbox does all these cool motherfucking designs, black with red star, or I'm sorry, red with like black stars all over it and shit, and like really cool graffiti look. I remember that was a controller from the Xbox Series, I'm sorry, Xbox One. Like, and I'm sitting there going, well, I could have pink, I could have blue, I could have red. Okay. And I'm like, man, I really want that other fucking controller. And then PlayStation released their camo line, which was like three different camo colors. It was like a green black camo, a blue white camo, and there was one other one, I think a red or a orange black camo. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. I don't do camo. I'm not into shooters. I'm not into all the Call of Duty games. I don't care. But that's really cool. Um, but like, it's always been that way for as long as I can remember. PlayStation has been very vanilla when it comes to the stuff they offer as far as accessories. So, yes, I brought this Deadpool thing up just for the memes, but Will had to take it serious and start pointing out actual shit. So here we are. They do a great job of promoting IP via their controllers, and they have always done that. They've always done an amazing job with that. And PlayStation has, well, they kind of suck at it. They've kind of sucked all the way around, and it's not something new. Like
And
it's almost like when your buddy's like, "Hey, did you know that you could do this with your wife?" And you're like, "Wait, what? What
and just
really?"
to add a little bit to what Steven said, and Steven, you're absolutely right. The games are the most important thing. But at the same time, these guys aren't a one-trick pony. They can chew gum and walk at the same time. So and also we hold PlayStation to a higher standard.
Yes.
They are one of the most creative, I would argue they're the most creative entertainment company in the world. And you're here to tell me that you cannot take some art that some low-level developer made just to show his boss, the project lead, what something would look like in a game, and then they threw in the garbage. Just get it out, uncrumple it, scan it, put it up in the computer, get it done on the plate. I mean, we all knew what happened this weekend in the real world, right? When I was checking Twitter, not like within an hour, people were already selling T-shirts with the famous picture within the hour, right? Because all they're doing is taking a picture, copying, and sending it to
Because,
Etsy and some
well, and it's because the American slogan is "Let no tragedy go to waste."
no go to waste. But the point is, they're able to make T-shirts within an hour. Some dude in his basement, it's like, oh, I can probably make a few bucks selling this shirt, and he got it done. And then I scrolled even further. The first one I saw was white, then I saw a black one, then a blue one, then a red one, and I'm just like, oh, like these guys are really taking advantage. But regular people are able to do it with IP that isn't even theirs, and PlayStation just isn't. And that's just where we're coming from. It's like, bro, you guys can do it. You guys have it all set up already. Like, I really would like to know why they're not doing it because they've done it.
So
This is the one generation they're not really being proactive about it. They've been
that's
proactive
not true.
before.
That's not true. That's not true. Sorry.
Well,
I will
besides the
argue.
PS1,
No, dog. I will argue all day long that they were shit during the PS4. We had a ton of colors, but they were all just single solid color.
yeah,
That's,
but we still had different edition
I'm just
PS4s that
saying.
you can get.
Yes, but
All sorts of IPs, even third party IPs you can get PS4 for. This is the
sure.
worst.
But most of the time, those were a limited run, and you couldn't keep buying them. I'm talking about when you go to the Xbox aisle at your Target or Walmart or wherever you shop, and you look down. I'm not talking about collector's editions. I'm not talking about special editions. I am talking about give me the fucking controllers that look badass like the neon green Xbox controller. That thing looks sick as shit. My only question is does the damn thing glow in the dark? Because if it does, I might buy one just for fun. Like, that controller back then looked sick as hell. And I literally remember looking and going, huh. I was a PS4 time, and I was like, damn, I can get a pink one, a black one, a navy blue one, or a red one. And I was like, shit, we don't have anything cool like that. And then I saw one behind it that had red with like this like etching like black like graffiti almost look to it where like there were lines and there was like the star on it and I was like, man, that's fucking cool, that's fucking sick. And I was like, well, and then it goes back to what Steven said. Then I reminded myself, oh, I'm holding Final Fantasy 15 in my hand. You know what, Xbox doesn't have that, and even if they do, I don't want to play it on there because I know they did at the time. And I was like, and so, but still, that's what
And
I
you can
mean.
apply both. Well, I mean, you can apply both to what we're saying, but right now I'm looking at the PlayStation, whatever this is called, their website, and right
There's
now they
six
have one,
colors.
two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, 9 colors. And
That's
for special editions, they only came out with three, three different controllers: a Spider-Man, the God of War, oh, the Hogwarts, but that was only exclusive to Japan, and
I think
the
Japan got a Final
final.
Fantasy too.
Yes, so they got two out of the four special editions.
Assholes.
So we're going 5 years in, and we've only had two what you call collectors or special editions.
Yep.
Like we have 9 different colors to choose from right now. For like just regular, you can go to Walmart, buy them, whatever. But for special editions, even worse. Only four, and two were region based. Like this is the worst
Yep.
it's ever been
Yep. Like
for their most successful, or on pace to be their most successful, or
yeah.
close to their most one of their most successful consoles.
No, I agree. And like this one's just so vanilla. God, it's so vanilla.
Yeah.
But anyways, so earlier you had made mention of Xbox, or no, I'm sorry, PlayStation needs to step it up in this department, and they're just like missing it. And so I wanted to segue at that point into, I'll check it out a bit while I listen to the pod. Yeah. Okay. So you were talking about, and I kind of wanted to segue, and so here we go. We have a, we have literally, I talked about it during the Starfield shit, and I never thought in a million years I would actually see a company in the console business advertise this way. Like I said it because that's what they were conveying. Uh, but Lord help me. This I can't make up, and we're going to go ahead and pull it up because it's hilarious. Amazon has launched an Xbox no console required bundle coinciding with the recent release of the Fire Stick TV or the Fire TV Stick Xbox Cloud gaming app, enabling Xbox Game Pass users to stream games directly to their TVs without needing an Xbox console. Stream Xbox games, no console required, reads the Amazon listing, which also mentions how it's the only streaming media player with the Xbox app. The new bundle coincides with Amazon's Prime Day that runs, and it's currently listed for $78.99, a $40.99 savings versus the controller, or versus buying the controller, subscription, and streaming sticks separately. There are even multiple colors to choose from. Sorry, we were just talking about that shit. White, blue, green Xbox controllers are all part of the offer. Okay. So, Warwana with the Australian 2, real special editions are the friend along the way. Absolutely. I like that. Thank you also for the Australian 2. I appreciate that. But, like, so yes, they might be great at making controllers and promoting IP through their accessories, but they are absolutely dog shit at promoting their own console. Like, look at this bundle. Here we go. It's going to load up Amazon. And look at that. You get a remote, the Fire Stick thing. That's great. You get 1 month free of Game Pass Ultimate, which does include day and date games. And then you get a white controller, but there are separate options. There's a neon green one that looks freaking cool. There's the yellow one. You get pink, purple, red, blue. You get all the basic controllers that PlayStation wants me to pay premium price on. You get all those just included in this fucking bundle. It's amazing. Whatever color you want, no console required. None. No console required. So, yeah, Xbox might have the line on like accessories and controllers and all that stuff, but when it comes to marketing their own fucking console, they're kind of ass. Like, and what's funny is you see people like talking about it, and you see a couple who are like they ride those band wave things, like where they talk about something because it's cool or because it's the topic at the moment or whatnot, and they're like, oh man, this sucks because they know it'd be cool to be the contrarian or what have you, but when all along they have Phil Spencer's thing right so far back in the back of their throat, if he pees, it's coming out of them. Like it's terrible. Like it's just awful. Because then you have these guys who are going to come on here and say, or not come on here. No, they don't come on here. But you have these guys who will get on Twitter and be like, oh, this is amazing. I can play it on my Amazon Fire Stick. I'm so happy. And look, I get this brand new controller and it's just freaking amazing. It's so good. But the thing that you're not realizing is that if the console player disappears, Xbox is dead. And I'm not talking Xbox as a brand. I'm talking about Xbox as a whole. Like, I don't think when Phil Spencer said that they're the most important division of, like, in their minds and in their marketing and in what they want to focus on and what they need to survive, he's not wrong. What Microsoft needs to survive is Xbox to be profitable. What Xbox needs to survive is the console gamer feeling like they actually mean anything. And right now, and for the past 2 years blatantly, 3 years subliminally, like they've been telling you that you don't fucking matter. And like, guys, I know I covered this shit last week. I know I covered it 3 weeks before that. But they are constantly dropping new shit that tells you that the Xbox console gamer doesn't matter. Yeah, Josh Ayers, quote, console is the most important gamer. That was from Phil Spencer back in June or July, I think, of last year. The console gamer is the most important gamer. Why? Well, let's say this. Because I was thinking about this. Why are console gamers so important? If everything is going everywhere eventually, why are console gamers so important? So let's say this. I'm a 38-year-old male. I'm married. I have 2 kids. And I have a friend group. Just like most late 30s, mid 30s, younger 20s, late 20s people do. That friend group comes over to my house. Okay? Let's pretend I don't have a PlayStation. I have a PC in my office that my wife and I share. Like all of her soap stuff is in here in the office. My computer is set up here in the office. She uses it for her work. I use it for mine. Like all of that. And so they're like, oh, cool computer. Yep. People know what the fuck a computer is. They probably have one. They probably have one for work. But, and hear me out here, they come into the house and I'm a console user. I have my console hooked up to my 65-inch 4K VRR cook your eggs and breakfast for you TV. Oh man, you got a PS5? Yeah, dude, I absolutely fucking love it. And then, what did they do? They turned me into an advertising piece right there. Because I'm not just going to stop at, I freaking love it. I'm going to go, hey man, let me show you this. Here's why I love it. Right now I'm playing Jedi Survivor. Look at this shit. When Cal jumps, because I'm weird and I notice this shit. Like when Cal jumps, look at his hair. Like as he gets closer to the ground and gravity catches up with him, his hair actually comes up a little bit and then rests back down on his head. Look at that
Now
shit.
imagine if you can advertise just like how you're talking about, but with your Uncharted plates. Oh, dude, those
Right.
look cool.
Right. Like,
Takes it a step further.
but that's why the console gamer is so important. Because those 8 people who come over, who are at my house every week, oh, 6, because my wife and I are 2 of them. But those 6 people who are at my house every week, I've literally had 2 of them message me and go, "Man, I'm thinking about getting a PS5. Do you think I should go digital or physical?" And like, they never talked to me about that before they started coming over to play Magic. But they're here. They see the console. It looks like a fucking rocket ship on my damn entertainment center. They're like, "Oh, that's really cool." Yeah, and then I show them the games, and they're like, "Holy shit, that looks great." I didn't realize it was that big of a jump from the PS4 from the Xbox One that I have. Yeah, it's really cool. And one of the guys is a PC player, and he's like, "Man, that looks really close to PC graphics." Yeah, I know. Like, you should get it. It's amazing. Then we could play together. We could do all these other things together. It'd be so fun. You could come over and we could have these little whatever. Like, we become the biggest mouthpiece when you have the console in home. And so the console gamer is super, super important to the market, especially if that's where you're trying to draw your revenue from. Like Phil already said, "Hey, listen, I mean, it's an option. You could sign up to Game Pass, sure, but or you could buy the game. I mean, you could buy the game. It's on sale. It's at the store. Like you could buy it if you want to. Please buy it. I'm sorry, I added the please buy it at the end. My bad. But like, it's so ridiculous that you have Microsoft getting in bed with Amazon while Phil Spencer, and yes, I know I parse the two out sometimes, but I can't believe that Phil Spencer was okay with Amazon using this to market the Fire Stick with Xbox on it. Like, he is so plugged into the community. You have to believe he's sitting there going, "Please don't do that. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. I have to answer to these people. Please don't do that. They're gonna message me. Do you realize my phone is about to not stop buzzing until it dies from battery loss? Like, please don't do that." Because the only other option is he's going, "No, yes, please do that. I am so fucking tired of managing Xbox. Please kill us. If it goes back to just Microsoft Gaming, y'all can manage that bullshit without me here. Like, please, please kill us." Those are the only 2 options at this point. And Will, I have talked for a long time. I could keep talking on this topic because it's absolutely insanity, but I want to hear your thoughts on it.
First thing I want to say in regards to that is, and I think Josh is the one who said in the comments, it was Amazon's decision, right?
Sure.
But still, Xbox is gonna get credit and money for the sale of that combo because there's a cost to the controller anyway. So the way that this happens is Amazon is basically discounting the product that they're selling, and whatever money they make is on them, but they had to buy it from Xbox, right? So, for example, for you guys that don't know retail, if I have whatever a pen and I sell the pen retails at $100, well, we have what's called cost, which means how much did we pay to make this pen, how much we paid shipping, everything involved to get this pen to my location. Let's say that cost is $20. Well, I have a back end profit where I sell the pen to Walmart to sell it outright. Well, the suggested retail price is $100, but I sell it to Walmart for $40. So I'm making $20 no matter what. Now, whatever Walmart sells it after that is on them. So if Walmart takes that pen and sells it for $100 and they say, well, this pen is not selling at $100 and they sell it for $80, well, they're still making 40 on it instead of 60, but that's at Walmart's discretion. Now, sometimes with big retailers like this, they will, in order to get that price down, there has to be a discussion, there has to be a meeting, there has to be some sort of, you know,
That's what I was going to say. So, like, you don't think that they just did this without Microsoft knowing?
no, no, they know
Okay.
because, like for example, in the auto business, they have this thing where I forget the name of the law, but basically all the dealerships cannot get together and say, "Hey, we're gonna sell this Toyota for $20,000, even though MSRP is 25, but we're all in agreement that nobody's gonna go below $20,000." And then they all get together and say yes. That is against the law. But what I was going with that is the price is coming from Amazon with basically Xbox blessing. But what I'm not hearing these guys talk about is, remember when Horizon Forbidden West came out and they bundled it together with the PS5 and they said the sales weren't as good because the PS5 was selling so high that Horizon was just part of it. Therefore, they really didn't sell 20 million copies or however million copies sold because people are forced to buy it. So what you're telling me is these people are forced to buy this freaking Xbox controller as well with the Amazon Fire Stick? Like, you guys were talking all this crap for years, and not just on Horizon, but also Call of Duty. You were talking shit about it with the God of War. I mean, just with everything. And now that Xbox has freaking a literal piece of plastic with the controller, now it's ingenious. Now it's the right move. Now it's let's get more gamers. Everybody can play. Now it's all this bullshit. Like sales doesn't matter. The thing that gets me about the Xbox
Well, I mean, to be fair, sales haven't mattered for Xbox in, well, at least vocally. They haven't
for
mattered
a
for
long time.
Xbox in a long time, sir.
Well, that's what I was gonna say next is yes, Xbox is a gaming company. But at what point or did people forget that they're a business first? And this goes into everything else, right? The ABK deal, Game Pass, the price increase, stuff that we sort of talked about last week. I cannot understand it business wise, right? I just don't understand how you're going to take a three, or in Halo Infinite's case, $500 million game, rumored, of course, because this information is coming from Google. Nothing Xbox has verified, but the number is $500 million to make Halo Infinite, and you take it day one and you put it on Game Pass. How the hell are you making your money back? That's besides the point. But that just adds on to more of this. So now with the price increase of Game Pass being at 19.99 in order to get day one games, they've also announced today Nvidia is part of their streaming or cloud system. But there's also a price increase in order to be able to stream using Nvidia. And why is this a big deal? Well, Nvidia, you can actually stream 120 frames, 4K, 60 FPS through Nvidia's cloud. You cannot do that on Xbox Cloud. So if you end up buying or paying for Nvidia plus Game Pass, you're going to be looking at like 30 some dollars a month. So now you include the Fire Stick in there. Now I
Hang on, let me
don't
read this
know.
because Josh replied to you. He said it's easy. He said at will 777JP, it's easy. Xbox gets fucked into third party like what happened.
Well, yeah, well we know that's gonna be it, right? I mean, we just saw the announcement, or not the announcement, but the job listing for the Gears E Day, which by the way I am super hyped for, and I can't wait to play it on my DualSense Edge on my PS5 at 120 or 60 frames, depends on what artistic vision they come up with this time around. But I'm excited for that game. But we saw the job listing, how they're looking for people that have experience on PS5. Um,
Right.
I wasn't sure if it's multiplayer or online services or something like that. But either way, PS5, PC, Xbox. So we know where it's gonna go. And
It's
Tim
no
Dog said
longer
to him,
behind the glass wall.
is
It's
exactly,
here.
it's here. And Tim Dog said to himself, I think it was yesterday, he said, yes, this first batch is only 4 games, but how many games is going to be the next batch and the batch after that? And eventually it's open season, right? Every game. And at this point, I think the only way for Xbox to survive is to just straight up become um, a third party publisher slash developer. Also, we talked about this with Jez a few episodes ago. where they will have some sort of console just to satiate those people that do want to buy a console from Xbox, but it's not going to be what we know it today, right? The 120 frames, 4K capability monster that these consoles are today. No, it's going to be something simpler, maybe something that streams. Oh, wait, they're doing that already with the Fire Stick. So how much more further do we have to go? Like we've been talking about this stuff for years now. We've been predicting this stuff for years now. And me and Thrifty, we're not insiders unless Thrifty, do you know something I don't know?
Hell
Or
no,
do
we're
we
just
both get our
logical.
information?
I
Okay.
fucking I fucking called this shit last year saying that they would have a port type of system where it was literally nothing more than a connection hub. When the Xbox trash can, the prototype of their patent got released, in all of their court documents, I was like, yeah, this is going to be, it's too small to be a console, but it's perfect to be a hub where you can just turn it on, boom, it connects to your TV, and it's just cloud gaming. That's all that shit is. And now they've given it to you, like Will said, with the Fire Stick. Go ahead, Will.
Yeah. Like we're not insiders. We don't know any, information that the public doesn't know.
No
So
extra
it
shit on
doesn't.
this channel. Nothing.
None. As a matter of fact, we probably know a little bit less because me
We're
and
gonna like,
Thrifty work a lot.
yeah.
We have families that we have to support. Like we probably know a little bit less than some of the guys who maybe are single, maybe don't work as much, where they can dig into the information more. So if we're able to conclude what we just said, why is it so difficult for the bot who is up to date on their preferred console? Because I try to be up to date on my preferred console, and why can't they figure this out? And now it's not he said she said. Now it's here's the Fire Stick. You can actually go to Amazon right now and buy the combo. What is it? $80, I think it is.
Yep, $80.
Um, 80
Hey,
bucks,
real
and
quick. Mr. Grimm said there's people out there who still believe it's only 4 games.
exactly. It's like for $80, you can, and if you have Prime, you can get it by tomorrow. If not, same day delivery. Which, by the way, not everything on Amazon is same day delivery, but a lot of or a good percentage of things are. Fire Stick being one of them. Meaning you can place the order right now, and by 5 in the morning, you'll have that sitting right at your door, and get ready to play every single Xbox game that you guys have spent $500 for, $1,000 for on PC can do. Just so you know,
Yeah,
$80. They
Outsider
get to play the
Gaming
same
Night.
shit you play.
Outsider Gaming Night said Xbox is on fire. No, literally, the plastic is melting down. And then um, Josh said they are missing brain cells. Yeah, but we knew that. Mr. Grimm, I agree with this. And this is not the show throw shade at Doc. I understand he's playing the YouTube game and he is doing it beautifully. But, and by playing the game, I mean, I fully believe that some of the stuff he says is extremely disingenuous, but he's doing it for the views and for the ratings. And you know what? I'm not going to hate on somebody who does that. It's a game on this thing sometimes. If I really wanted to take this channel so far up into the atmosphere, I there's techniques that I can do that I've talked to people about, and I just don't want to do that. But here's what Mr. Grimm said. Doc Dark just made a video talking about Microsoft doesn't care about the console gamer, when all of us have been telling him for years now exactly what's happening now. Abso-freaking-lutely. I actually, so y'all saw, who those y'all who were here last week, saw Salty jump in the chat real quick. Because I've been begging him to come, not begging, more like goading. Okay, it's begging. I've been begging him to come on here and be like, dude, take your fucking victory lap. Please. You were screaming this shit out 2 fucking years ago, dude. Come on here. Take your victory lap. Please. And so he almost jumped on and was like, nah, I can't. And so, like, cool. No big deal. Love Salty to death. But, like, damn. Take your victory lap. We've all been saying this shit. And once again, Will, like you said, we don't have a fucking magical crystal ball. I don't even read most of the time I don't read these articles until I'm reading them with y'all. And I've told y'all it's because
Facts.
I really like the like spontaneity. Like there's been a couple times that I've been reading an article and I've been like, "Oh, that's actually kind of cool. I was planning on dogging on this, but that's pretty cool." Like few and far between. Listen, Chad, I am trying my damnedest. What's up, Zero Still? I am trying my damnedest to get him back on. He is almost ready. Once he gets ready, he'll come back. He kind of jumped on Twitter a little bit, and like so, I'm letting him get his feet wet. He needed the
Who we
break
talking
from
about?
this. Salty.
Oh yeah.
He needed the break from this. He's enjoyed the break. He's had some family stuff go down, some health stuff, and that's why he left originally. Everybody knows that. It's no secret. And so like some of that stuff has gotten a whole lot better, and so he's
And
getting better.
and Salty's still been gaming, bro. He
Salty's still
just
been
got a
gaming.
portal recently. Like he's still
Yes.
gaming. He's not out of the gaming loop, so he'll be right back to where he left off.
Oh yeah. And him and I were actually talking last week about the advertising snafu where Game Pass was increasing their price and all this other stuff. And he was like, "Yeah, we kind of called that." I said, "No, you didn't read it. They're removing day and date from one of the tiers." He goes, "Oh shit." Like, so he's still in it. I make sure to talk with him. But like, yes, if I could get him back, I absolutely would. But like, it's fucking insanity. It really, like, we've been screaming this shit. I was on a podcast and I started my own for the simple reason that on that podcast I didn't have enough time to talk my bullshit. So I wanted extra time to talk my shit. But like this is not something new. This is not something that we have like stumbled upon magically. All we did was look at the data and go, you know what? If you buy a $70 billion company that makes $45 million of their money, or sorry, if their Blizzard division and Activision division, if 57% of that, or whatever the hell that number was, is made on PS5, what does that mean? Well, that means you're going to go third party, my guy. That means you're about to be a third party publisher. Welcome. No, that's not going to happen. They're going to make it exclusive. You're an idiot. Like that's and that was the end of the conversation back then. And we got told y'all are dumb, y'all are stupid, that's never going to happen, blah blah blah, and it happened.
Basically, everything they projected on PlayStation, they themselves are going through, and
I
it's not
know.
for lack of knowledge. It's lack. It's they just don't. I always say, man, people. Some people are that ignorant, but the majority are not. A lot of them just don't want to. They're being malicious about it because look, nobody wants to be seen like my boss was just talking to our team yesterday and she said, something I appreciate about you guys is that whenever you guys do something wrong, you just admit it right away. And I don't have to ever babysit you guys. I don't ever have to check up on you guys because I know that if something goes wrong, you guys just let me know. We handle it, we learn from it, and we move on. Some of those guys are just straight up children. They just do not want to admit that the last 10, 15 years of their life has been a lie in their gaming life, and they feel like I don't know what they feel like, but it's like time to grow up, man. If you really love this gaming community and this gaming hobby that we all love, then do it not just for yourself, do it for the game, for the gaming industry, because the more we let these people get away with fuckery, the more they're going to try to pull more fuckery.
Which is the
And
real story behind
eventually,
this. Go ahead.
which exactly which eventually is gonna affect us guys. Believe it or not, we don't see Xbox as competitors, but I can sit here and tell you that if I was PlayStation, no matter how last place Xbox is, I'm always gonna keep an eye on them, and I'm always gonna be trying to see what they're gonna do next.
All right. Josh has said we have beat this topic like a dead horse. So I'm going to hop off of it now. All right. So we are not going to get to the DEI stuff tonight. That's okay. What we are going to get to is just so Josh Ayers said, put something on the Discord for a segue to the mobile stuff. Damn. Okay, I get it. All right, hang on. Let me go ahead over here. Oh, there you go. Okay. Best deals. Now, see, Josh, you can't write shit like that and then write shit like you just wrote. The best deal in gaming, meaning they can raise the price without affecting anything. It's the same shit. Okay, so here's the deal. Well, let's get into mobile gaming real quick because there was this push. Developers were like, we're gonna release Resident Evil and Assassin's Creed, and we're gonna do all these things for mobile. It's gonna be great. We're gonna have this. Excuse me. We're gonna have the same success that Call of Duty did, and it's gonna be amazing. And it's gonna be the next PUBG, and people are gonna love it. And we're gonna put our single player games on there, and it's just gonna be amazing. Okay. So, with that being said, ta-da! From Gaming Bolt, Resident Evil 7 has reportedly sold under 2,000 units on iOS. What's funny is 83,000 people have downloaded it, but only 2,000 have paid for the full game. That means people went, oh, let me see how this runs. That sounds cool. And then they were like, oh, this runs like ass. I'm done. And so, like, mobile gaming, I'll be honest, I was interested. I play things, so I'll randomly download Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle, and like after a year of not being there, they give you a shit ton of like stuff for coming back, and so I'll jump in like once a year. I'll play for a month or two, and then I'll hop off. I play a game called Tap Heroes on there. I literally play it for 15 minutes a night before I go to bed. It's great. They have our own little Discord and everything. It's awesome. But like I've never looked at my phone and said, "Man, I want to be on this thing for 3 hours a night." I have looked at my PlayStation and said that, but that's totally different. And I think that's what developers are gonna realize real hard, real quick, and real fast with a real big loss in revenue. Because Capcom has one of the several companies to be bringing AAA titles to iOS devices in recent months, but it's continuing to go poorly for the company. Previous reports had suggested that the iOS ports of Resident Evil Village and Resident Evil 4 remakes had both flopped commercially. And it's now being reported that Resident Evil 7 isn't faring too much better. In a recent published report, MobileGamer.biz has claimed that, as per AppMagic estimates, Resident Evil 7 has seen over 83,000 downloads on the iPhone 15 Pro, 15 Pro Max, and iPad devices with the M1 chip or later earlier this month. In terms of revenue, the company said it has generated $28,140. They didn't pay for one developer. I want to point that out. Average developer of a video or average video game developer, according to Google, makes about $54,000 a year. They didn't cover. Oh no, I'm sorry. Wait a second. They covered half of that. Almost down to the number. They covered half of that. And so you have this, the full purchase game. You can download it for free, and then you get a full purchase. Blah blah blah. Whether Capcom and/or other companies have tried their hand in the area are going to continue releasing games has yet to be seen, but thus far it does look like such releases have too much of a market on iOS, or doesn't look like they have such releases have a market on iOS platforms. So like, um, yeah. So I know Jez, and Jez, I saw you in the chat. I know Jez, when this shit came out, he was like, "Who the fuck is gonna play Resident Evil on a damn phone? Like, who the hell is gonna do that?" And so this has gone in such splendid fashion because everybody, Will, you know this as much as I do. Mobile gaming is the future. Mobile gaming is this. The new Apple chip can play these amazing games. Look at the 4K 120 graphics and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, you know what that's not, though? That's not a 65-inch flat screen with VRR. And at the end of the day, I have to make phone calls on that shit. At the end of the day, I have to send text messages on that shit. At the end of the day, I answer emails and do all my shit for work on that damn thing. My phone is the thing that I touch the least when I get home. Because I've been on the damn thing all fucking day long. Why would I want to pick it up again? And so, seeing this, it's just another area that, damn it, Will, I wish you and I ran some of these fucking companies so we can look at them and go, hey guys, that's pissing your money away. Like, Capcom. Hey bro, y'all could be just dumping that money into something that actually matters, like another Resident Evil. Get it out faster, maybe. Y'all could put it into another, Street Fighter. Get it out quicker. Add some more content to the one you already got. Like, you really don't want to do that. But then you have Greg in the fucking business meeting going, but I see my son all the time and he's glued to his phone. Yeah, but he's playing Candy Crush. Like that's not the fucking same. It's just not. One's a game you play on the toilet. The other one is a game that takes you actual time, thought, and investment into playing. None of the games I mentioned earlier, Dokkan Battle or Tap Heroes, make you take any thought. It's literally clicking a little, like pressing the screen a few times, and that's it. And so, man, I just think they missed their mark in such a terrible way. Like, and it's something that was avoidable. Like, this was a self-inflicted wound. Like, no real gamer looks at the data and goes, "Oh, you know what? I see 85 times more, and that's a fictitious number, but I see 85 times more people on mobile than on console. Surely to God, that means if we put our game on mobile, that will succeed there." No, dipshit. What they're playing is Clash of Clans. What they're playing is Candy Crush. What they're playing is Royal Kingdom or Kingdom Royal or whatever the hell that free one is that is like a Candy Crush, like match game. Like, they're playing Word Skillet. They're like, they're not playing Resident Evil. They're not playing Final Fantasy. Now, your hardcore Final Fantasy fans will look at me and go, "Well, you know I have Final Fantasy 7 on the iOS." Yes, I do too. But the normal person who games on mobile is not playing those titles on mobile. And so this was such a big fail. Will, what do you think about this, man?
Man, I agree. It's just not the same type of gamer, man. And look, this isn't anything new. I mean, they said the same thing about Game Pass. Oh, the Netflix of gaming. Sorry about that. The Netflix of gaming, right? And it's gonna attract so many people. You can play games day and day, and look how that's going. They said the same thing about PC or Xbox, I should say. Oh, they're marketing so hard to the PC, but what's that growth? Is it really significant? I really don't think so. People game where they game because they like it, and they love using the new generation, right? Oh, well, the new generation is always on their phone. The new generation is all about PC, all this, right? The new generation, it's gonna come down to um the what's the word? The cheapest way to enter it, right? Is somebody gonna spend 800, $1,000 try to configure, all the configurations, or maybe get a pre-owned PS5 for 350 and do it that way? I don't know. Personally, I don't know. But based on what we've been seeing, that's exactly what's happening. And the PlayStation 5 is still selling like hotcakes. It's on pace to, make the record numbers. So I don't think that this mobile game push that they're trying to do is just it's not gonna get the results that they want.
So, and let's talk about that real quick because I was super frustrated. Like you talked about level of expectations per device. Like I don't want to play these AAA games on my cell phone. That's not my level of expectation for that device. That's not what I want that device for, and I don't care if it ever has it on there. But level of expectations today, I saw I got a Twitter thing because I follow Bandai Namco on X, and it said going live, um, Ace Combat 7 release, and I was like, wait,
You know,
maybe some dipshit typed that wrong. Maybe, hmm. Maybe somebody accidentally typed that wrong, and we're getting like, or maybe it's like a special edition or whatever's getting released, but at the end of it, they're gonna give us the big reveal of Ace Combat 8, which is what should happen because the other game came out so long ago. No, it was a Switch release. They're now putting Ace Combat 7 on the Switch. It's a special edition. All this other bullshit. So now that studio has taken time porting game over to a system that doesn't give two rats ass about the game. I haven't seen Nintendo players going, "Oh man, if only I could play Ace Combat 7." Like that's no, they're playing Mario and Zelda and Mario Kart and Mario Princess and Mario RPG and everything else that has fucking Mario in the damn title. They don't care. It's wasted resources. And the level of expectation on that little tiny device, that little tiny Switch, is is really like, can I play Minecraft on it? I got a 10-year-old. That's all he fucking does is plays Minecraft on it. That's all he wants to do. You know where he wants to play the rest of his games? On my PlayStation. Why? Because the level of expectation. And so to see them doing this is like, listen, how do you have people who make thousands of dollars a year going, hey, I think I have a good idea? And how do you, who makes probably millions of dollars a year as the head of the company, go, you know what? Man, I think you're onto something. Like, you gotta be a little dumb. Or it's the same problem we have in the politics in our country. It's all really, really old people, and they're all really out of touch with like reality. Like, though that could be true. That could be true. It
that
could just
could be very true.
it could be very true. They're like, no, we've been doing this for a long time. We follow the data. And then you have Steven over here looking at him going, hey, sir, I'm sorry. And like, well, who are you? Well, I'm sorry. I know I just graduated. I'm the new hire here. Um, I don't think that's gonna work the way you want. And then Steven gets tossed out the fucking window. Like, because maybe that's what happened. I don't know.
And
But
you know what else happens a lot too is these execs come from, um, for example, you have a guy coming over from Nintendo to Xbox or Xbox to PlayStation or whatever, and they're trying to run it like what they know. And it's like, bro, it's a different customer base, man. Like they just see the umbrella of gamer, or they because they played a game before, they think that they're qualified to, I just they just make the wrong calls all the time. And unfortunately, in today's world, not even failing financially can humble them and say, you know what, I was wrong. Because if that was the case, look at Xbox.
so so Josh just said Thrifty PS Gamer Reviews. Easy. Apple wants to grow their gaming portfolio, so they have to pay for it. So it's not Capcom footing the bill, it's Apple, which that Apple check might have been the reason. But so even with that, Josh, though, how do you look at your gamer base and go, "Hey, we could have had this game out a year earlier, but we took money from Apple to be able to so we made this game."
But Thrifty, you're assuming that they care what you think. They don't care,
Oh
bro.
no,
And I
I know
tweeted this
that.
the other day. They hate you, actually. They don't like you. You're in their way. And not Capcom in specific, but a lot of business people, they hate their customers.
They really do. Uh, as a person in the HVAC world who has literally left a customer's house before going, I hate that customer. I need to leave here. Like,
Hmm.
and I call dispatch and I go, hey, don't ever send me back there again. Like, that doesn't happen at all houses, but it does happen. So,
Yeah, but you're doing it and I do it too, right? But we're doing it based on that customer's, the experience with that customer. But there's
right.
customers that we absolutely love, right? They're different. They don't see us as people. They see us as a number. Where we're on a chart, we're on a, portfolio somewhere, and they're just trying to figure out how to extract as much money from us as possible. They don't care about what we think we like or what we want. As a matter of fact, they know better than we do. So they think. And therefore, they'll make stupid decisions like let's invest a year, 2 years, 3 years on porting our game over to a system which we know is probably not going to sell, but hey, they're cutting us a check. Why not?
Hey, give me just a half a second. Hang on. I don't know if this is true or not, but Toolman just sent me something, and if it's true, that's going to be crazy.
Yeah, bro,
Uh,
you're in their way, man. Remember that.
School, PlayStation Portal Sin, Unleashed, Dark Console. This is a Gears of War theme. Gears of War is coming. Okay, wait. Oh. Hey, Will, I don't know if you're watching the stream while you're talking, but the PlayStation Portal has a PlayStation Portal Protector skin that is Gears of War themed. Now,
Wait,
it's not.
repeat that?
The PlayStation Portal has a skin for, one of those silicone skins, or
Yeah.
actually, this one doesn't look like it's silicone.
Oh, yeah, but
Uh,
that's what, third party?
it does look third party from Best Skins, but at the same time, why would Best Skins as a company try to jump on this if it wasn't related to something PlayStation? You know
Well,
what I mean?
because they saw the news. And also, it's not a secret that Xbox is going third party. I mean, why not be
That's
first, even if you're wrong? And even if you are wrong, who cares? You get to sell some skins on a PlayStation Portal, you know?
Is it official? No, it's not official. But like, and I get that. That's what he was saying. It's third party. I get that. That's cool. But like, it's still kind of nuts. Like when you think about it, it's still a little nuts. Hey, what's up, Jez? You're back. I didn't know you left. Welcome back. Capcom would want to get RE Engine running on iOS, so if Apple wants to pay for the development of some ports, it may. Oh, well, yeah, that's possible. A lot of this is possible. It's just one of those things that just made me kind of like, wait, y'all spent all this damn money. Y'all spend all this time, even if you got paid to do it. So today, okay, I went out to a house. It had a 1986 air handler inside of it, which if you have electric heat, that's what you have. You have an air handler. And what was really funny was I get there and I look at the wiring schematic and I look at the wires and none of the colors match. I was like, oh god, somebody's been in here before. So I start trying to trace the wires. I call my trainer. I call my team lead. I call a couple other people, and like I think we have it figured out. So I hook it up. I turn it on. I supply power back to it. I start it back up, and that damn thing decides to pop on me. And so like I'm sitting there, and I'm like, wait, okay, I know I got paid for this. That's fine. I get it. The company paid me. But it still doesn't mean that it wasn't time that I wasted today. Like, and so that's where I'm coming from. I understand that they can get money to do other things. That's fine and dandy, but it's still time and energy that was wasted to do something that's not going to make them any extra money in the long run. Like, it'd be the same as if Stellar Blade released and Shift Up was like, "Yeah, man, we broke even." Like Didn't make a damn thing on it. Do you think they're going to want to sit there and make another one? No. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of money. We just barely broke even. And
Unless you're really passionate about the IP itself, but
sure,
in
sure. I mean,
today's world, that's rare.
right, but you have had companies before who are like, listen, we can keep the lights on. We love what we do. No big
I,
deal.
I mean, bro, we just saw that with Japan Studios. We just saw that the what's his name? The guy in charge wasn't happy about PlayStation basically saying we want big budget games and here's the checkbook opened up for you. He's like, "No, I want to make small games with small budgets." So just imagine that. So we're in a world where a guy like that basically didn't want to play ball because he wanted to stay small budget. And in my mind, I'm thinking, well, bro, nobody's telling you to stop making the games that you make. Just amplify it times however much money they're giving you.
Right, like,
But well, imagine that. It's not that they sucked. It's not that their work was shoddy. None of that. It's that they didn't want to get bigger.
yeah, and
And I understand that.
at some level, yeah, like, that's what I told my wife. I was like, so if she sells 200 soaps a month, she's going to have to double her production. And I was like, honey, do you really want to double your production right now? Like, working out of an office room? Do you really want to do that? And she was like, no, I guess not. I mean, I kind of do, because obviously that means growth for the business. That means maybe potential other opportunities. But she was like, I don't know. And like, that's the thing. What do you want? And, kudos to that dude. Like, he looked at PlayStation with an open checkbook, be able to do whatever the hell he wanted, and he said, you know what, I'm good. Like, kudos. I think we need more of that in gaming so we don't get shitty AAA games. Because what happens is these developers, they work on these games and they're not really passionate about it, and you get Redfall. Like, they don't give a shit. They were told to put a product out, and this is what an uninspired product looks like. Have a fun time with it. Like, that sucks. And so, like, it's just one of those things. You got to be passionate about what you're doing, and if it can be profitable, then that's obviously what you need to keep doing. If it can't, well, okay, you might have to do some things to pay the bills. Like, developers, when Microsoft was making one of their acquisitions, they had gone in, and I think it was Matt Booty talking with the developers there, and they were like, hey, so once we get acquired, and once all that goes through, how do y'all feel about freelancing or like doing stuff on the side that like totally different genre, nothing related to the type of game that I'm currently working on for your company, blah blah blah. And he was like, well, I mean, we're gonna have to like cross that. He basically sidestepped the answer, but it was basically along the lines of, yeah, you're not gonna be able to do that anymore. And so on one hand, I get it because if you're terribly bored at your job and like you're just doing it to collect the paycheck, yeah, going out and doing some freelancing is kind of fun. It kind of helps you do it for yourself. And like, before my company redid their policy, I did a couple houses just on my own, just for a couple church members that I have. And I did it in the first year, and then I found out, hey, that's not okay. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. But it was really fun when I was able to like contact them and talk with them, and I kind of handled everything from front to back. It was really fun because I love that. I've always wanted to own my own thing, and so that was really cool. But I knew that that wasn't going to pay the bills right now, so I have to go do these other things. So I think freelancing gives them that outlet, but you do have companies like Microsoft who are like, you know what? We don't want you to freelance. You're working for us. You're only working for us. Blah blah blah. And I think that right there does stifle the creativity. And I wish more people did have like what that guy did, who said, "Hey, listen, I just want to make smaller games. I'm not saying your big budget games are bad. That's just not what I'm passionate about. I don't care about that. I want to build these really cool indie titles." So once again, long-winded way to say kudos to that dude. Sorry, I cut you off and kind of took that over, Will. My bad. Hello.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to let you continue.
Oh, you're good. That's all I had to say.
Oh, but so, anyways, it's mobile games was a fail. Let me say that mobile AAA games are a fail. I'm interested to see how Zenless Zone Zero, I think is what it is. I'm interested to see how that is doing on mobile. I'm guessing it's doing pretty well because it has that mobile gotcha mechanic built into, from what folks have been saying, okay, decent gameplay. Let me catch up on the chat. I'm checking back. I'm back checking out that No Man's Sky. Oh damn, I love this. Is it official? That was about the controller, third party. ACP. Did the ACP pop? Huh. Oh, it looks amazing. Oh, okay, okay. If Apple paid more than they made it, uh, it's more for Apple than. And Josh, you're right. You could do that. Like, and you could say that. Like, if they made $1 million and it cost them $200,000, maybe they had 5 or 6 developers working on it periodically throughout the past year or two or whatnot. Like, maybe, sure. But I still think at the end of the day, that extra time that the devs did could have been put into something else. But I also understand your point about sometimes we do things just for money. And I get that.
Hey, that's how I feel about Concord. I know that it's not losing money or anything like that, but I'm like, fuck, man, you could have spent like I would have been much more excited if they took those characters, everything they did for that game, but single player campaign. Like I just miss the days, like PS3 360 days, where a game came complete, meaning it had a campaign, it had a co-op campaign, it had a multiplayer section of it. It had sometimes even a like a battle royale style thing to it, and it was just a complete game where you had a little bit of everything for everybody. Now we don't do that anymore. I mean, Ghost of Tsushima did it, but that's about it that I can think of.
So you bring up a good point. You have, and as you were talking, I kind of thought of this. PlayStation feels like, or gaming in general feels like it has an identity crisis. Not that it's a crisis in we're not getting good games or they're not making good deals or I mean some of that's true, but like I feel like there's this identity crisis in gaming right now. Back in the day, if you wanted a single player story driven action adventure game, you absolutely 100% went to PlayStation. That's all they gave you, that's what they gave you, and that's what you had. And occasionally you'd have these decent shooter series that would come out. Okay, if you wanted your community driven games that were all about getting your friends over, you went to Xbox. We talked about that a lot last week. But now I feel like PlayStation has a bit of an identity crisis. Like if you look at the games lineups, you're like, well, what are they really like going to be known for? Is the PS5, is the first part of it going to be, well, they were known for their single player games? The middle part of the life cycle is, hey, they're going to be known for uh, trying at all of these live service titles, and then they're going to overcorrect, and then it's going to be back. Like it just feels very uncertain right now in what the PlayStation console is trying to be known for. Outside, I know Jez is in the chat, so outside of just quality, what are they trying to be known for?
Yeah, I have a theory, so whenever you're done, I'll go into it.
No, I'm done. That was the question. What are they
Oh,
trying to be known
so
for?
I think that PlayStation is going into a phase where they're wrapping up on that uncertainty that you're talking about. I think that they invested too much too fast, which is a big mistake a lot of companies do, not just PlayStation. A lot of companies do this, man. I mean, where they want to grow too fast, too strong, and it ends up backfiring them from things outside of the control, meaning what the customer reaction is to the product. And I think that's what they're going through right now, which is actually just normal business. The difference is that with PlayStation and making games, it's a much more expensive mistake. So I think that they're just trying to wrap up on what that slate was going to be, those 10 live service games. I think they're just trying to push out whatever they are close to being done with so they're not losing out on that investment that they put in. And I think that they're going to go back to what they were. Doesn't mean that they're going to completely ignore the live service aspect of their gaming. I just think that it's going to be more controlled, more precise, and more purposeful. I think that at the start of the generation, they were kind of, and this is just me guessing, guys. I don't know anything, right? But I think that we're using more of, I'm just gonna see what sticks at the wall. But I think that they now have enough research, enough data to start to pinpoint and to start to guide those resources into more specific projects. So I think that's what's happening right now is they're tidying up, dotting the I's, crossing the T's on those games, live service games that they are probably heavily invested in or games that are close to being done while in the background, they've always been working on those single player narrative driven games that we all love. Like that never went away. But I think that the production on that has slowed to an extent because they still have these other live service games that need the resources. So maybe, and I'm just throwing some figures out there as an example, but maybe let's say instead of Insomniac getting 100% attention and resources from corporate Sony, maybe they're now getting 90%, maybe 85%. So they can take that 15% from Insomniac and apply it to whatever live service game they're making. Instead of Naughty Dog getting 100%, now they're getting 95%. They take that 5% and include it to that 15%. Now you're at 20% resources. So I think they did a little bit of that, which slowed down the process of
Yeah.
putting out those first player narrative driven games. So I think that's what's happening. And another thing too is that and going back to what we were just talking about, the mobile gaming, that is what pissed me off from when I heard the news to begin with, because I have the same thought that Thrifty just did in regards to the mobile gaming, is you're pulling resources away from the shit that I like to make the shit that may make you more money. And I will never forget this, because as much as I love the PlayStation community and I game with you guys and all that, I get so pissed off at you guys because you guys defend fuckery just like the bots do. Just like the bots do. Except that after a little bit, you see more evidence and you're like, you know what? You're right. I'm going to adjust my opinion because
Right.
of this new
That matters,
information.
okay?
So that
That
matters
matters.
hugely, right? So I don't want to say that you're like a bot because you're not. You're actually logical thinking
You did
people
call
who
Nelson and me
just didn't
bots though
have.
in the Discord that one time.
I did.
I
Well,
figured if
that
he's not here
I
to
still
bring it up,
stand by
I'm
that.
gonna. So,
I still stand by that because you guys were out here talking about the state of play was a fucking 8 out of 10, whatever bullshit. I
no,
don't.
we
It hurts my
didn't.
feelings. I
No, we
don't want to
didn't.
talk about
It
it,
hurts your
but
feelings. Okay, continue.
a lot of people were saying, and look, this is logical thinking, right? This is solid thinking. Well, PlayStation needs to do this if they want to expand, if they want to grow. That's logical thinking. I come from the side of, just like I told my boss at work as well. Let's squeeze all the juice out of that orange before we move on to the next fruit. And I still think there's a lot of juice left in the single player narrative driven game. I mean, come on, PlayStation's been doing this for 30 years, and that's the thing that has allowed them to expand into the empire they are today. Why do we feel that all of a sudden, because we're in 2024, that's going to end when the projection is still going up? I just do not understand it. So when all these guys, and not everybody, of course, but the people that were saying this, know it's important for PlayStation to take a season to slow down on the single player narrative driven games and focus on the live service because the money they make will allow them to invest into the single player games. That did not make sense to me. The reason it didn't make sense to me, last week we found out about, or not that we found out, but I think it was one of the uh, project leads or an employee from Rockstar had an interview where this came out where he said they had a DLC lined up for GTA 5 and it was going to be based on Trevor, but they scrapped it. They scrapped it, they
Hmm.
used some of that stuff and they just included it into GTA 5 online. Now going back to what I'm talking about, the PlayStation Live Service games and taking the money from that and investing it into the single player games, what you're saying is what Xbox and Microsoft is doing right now. That's not sustainable. What they're going to do is they're going to take the same money they're making from live service games and reinvest them in live service games. The
Hmm.
only time you really see somebody taking from the checking account and sticking it into another account is that that other account has zero, meaning it's growing. You got to get it going to get some of that interest money. Same thing in gaming. If you're going to start something new, then you like how they did with the live service. They got the money from live service from their single player narrative driven games, from their accessory sales to give it that boost. Once they can get those games to sustain themselves, they're going to work on growing it. Why the hell will they take from one division to put into another one? It just makes no sense. That's what Microsoft's been doing. They've been taken from Microsoft because Xbox is not producing what they need to produce, and Daddy Microsoft has been footing the bill. But now all of a sudden, PlayStation is going to do the same exact thing.
Well,
Come
and
on, guys, it doesn't make any sense.
if anybody's watched the first Doctor Strange, listen to Mordo at the end. The bill
Who's Mordo?
always comes due.
Oh, yes.
The bill, you can't keep screwing with stuff and expecting not to have to pay the piper at some point.
Did
But
what I say make sense, Thrifty? Because I feel like I rambled a little
no,
bit.
it did. And you have some stuff in the chat. I have some stuff in the chat that kind of we're going to parse together from what I said and what you said. So, because Josh has been typing a lot, so has Hero, so have several others. Jez has said some stuff. So, okay. Let's hop in here. When I asked the question, what is PlayStation trying to be known for? And here's what Jez said, and I think this is an answer that I can get behind. Jez said, the gaming grindhouse, the most immersive experiences that entertain us. Sure, that's vague enough for corporate speak, and it tickles me enough as a gamer to go, you know what? I could get behind that. That sounds fine. And then Josh, you brought up a good point. That said, you said quality isn't a bad thing to be known for. Absolutely not. Quality is a wonderful thing to be known for, and that right now is what PlayStation is known for. That's why whenever we get these Steam releases and PC players are like, yeah, well, I've been playing that for 3 years, it's been in beta. Bro, thank you for testing the game and getting all the bugs out of it before I had to touch it. I appreciate you. Because we have a fucking quality standard over here. Like, you can't, which is why I'm really surprised still that the Ascent has not been fixed. I know that's a developer choice, but dear God, please, please, for the love of God, somebody fix the Ascent multiplayer. It's a struggle bus to play that game in multiplayer. Anyways, Hero Down Under said deprioritize live efforts. They shouldn't have ended the support for Dreams. They should have put Dreams on PC. That right there would have been a great thing to do. That is a way to save some of your capital, to redeem some of your capital, to make a little bit. You have another studio that you've already paid to do that, so pay them to put that one on there. Like, I think that there's a few things that Sony could have done in that. I always thought, this is from Mr. Grimm, I always thought Sony was a bit too headstrong in wanting to make 10 live service. Yeah, we all did too. Like, I started looking at their cadence. I remember being on Salty's show, on the Saltiest Gaming podcast, and I was looking at their cadence and going, wait, so if they do 12 live service games over the next 5 years, um, That's a lot. That's two a year. So what? We're getting 4 games a year now. And this was before people started pointing out, well, you got to think MLB live and MLB has a live service heavy live service component. They're probably gonna do some third party things, blah, blah. But like on face value, I was like, wait, they only release about 4 games a year that are PlayStation exclusives. So okay. So does that mean half of them are going to be live service? And I remember we having that discussion and we were talking about it, but like, yeah, we all knew that was a bit of a stretch. They saw all that, and Will and I have pointed this out so many fucking times. They saw all that COVID money and were like, dude, everybody's playing live service. We got a hard pivot. We got to. And then they started dumping their money into live service. And then the government looked at us like little children and said, okay, guys, y'all can go back out into the outside now. It's safe again. And so we went back outside. Some of us were outside the whole time. But the masses went back outside because they got permission to. And once that happened, what happened to all the people who were playing live service games? Oh, they had to drive back into work. Oh, they couldn't work from home anymore and play Fortnite and work and do their calls and all the other things that they had to do. Oh, damn. So all that money starts to dry up, which is why PlayStation came out and like canceled several projects and was like, "Hey, we're not doing that shit."
And also, Thrifty, just to add on to what I was saying too, is that not everything PlayStation did in regards to the live service, and they're still doing right because we don't know when it's going to end, but they didn't it wasn't a complete failure, right? Like one of the
No.
things that as much as I don't like it, and I'll explain why, but they went ahead, the developers that are working on Concord, right? They went ahead and bought somebody specifically for that. They went ahead and bought somebody specifically for mobile development. So they're buying stuff to not take away, right?
Right.
Completely, which is smart. That's what you want them to do. But at the same time, the gamer, the selfish part of me is saying, well, how much did the people that made Concord cost? Well, how much more would that have sped up development on Ghost of Tsushima game?
I knew you
How
were going to
much
say that.
more, would that have sped up on a new IP or the IP that Corey Barlog is working on? Like how much more? And that's the those business decision that in the moment when you're making them, you don't know if they're gonna pay off. You're going based on, well, one, what's gonna make money, because obviously that's
Mhm.
what a business is for. But two, what you have the highest chance of succeeding. So Josh, I wasn't trying to count my chickens per se, but I'm also looking at it like, okay, they've been very more than successful. They've actually been the most successful with their single player driven games. What is the main reason that they want to um you know increase their revenue that much? Now, everybody's always trying to increase their revenue, but the way that PlayStation's going about it, it seems like they want to increase the revenue like two times or three times, just a ridiculous amount, because that can possibly the payoff on a live service game. I mean, if something hits like a Fortnite, I mean, it's a wrap, right? It's a wrap for a company. They're going to be making more money than they can even imagine. But what exactly is the goal here for PlayStation? Are they trying to expand on all? Is Sony using PlayStation as their jumping off point to expand into new endeavors, and they need that money, that live service money, to do so? Or are they looking to expand their gaming division? Or are they, what exactly are they trying to do? And I think that's a very important question. I wish these journalists did their damn job, because that's something that I think about, because that will
Well,
give
and
us a
can't it be
much.
both though? Like,
No, it absolutely can be, but at the same time, when you're investing billions of dollars and all of a sudden shutting games, let's be real. The Naughty Dog um, live service game they were gonna do, that hurt. Not just
yeah,
the gamers, but that hurt Sony financially. I mean, you're in a
yeah.
position where Naughty Dog isn't making any money at the moment. I mean, yeah, they're making money with the remakes and stuff, but not Not like The Last of
They're
Us
not
Part
making
3.
Naughty Dog money. They're not.
Exactly. Not exact. Perfect. They're not making Naughty Dog money. So that hurt Sony financially big time. So
Yup.
they had to make a correction. Think about that. They just spent 3 billion on Bungie, and what? Maybe 6 months or a year later, they shut off that live service game from Naughty Dog. And Naughty Dog is top five best developers in the whole world.
Well, not to mention 6 months to a year later, Bungie laid off a lot of their staff.
Laid off a lot of their staff.
Like,
So it's not like PlayStation is pulling the plug on some, $100 million, developer, or even smaller, or even five. No, they're pulling the plug on one of the biggest developers in the world, meaning they know what they're doing, right? They can make a game with their eyes closed. That's how good these guys are. So Sony, what they saw warranted them to say, you know what, we're going to cut our losses here, and they had to be hundreds of million. So the question stands, right? Where the hell are these journalists asking these questions, man? It's so frustrating. But that will give us a much better picture into what the end goal is here for them. Because at the end of the day, I don't want to lose my single player narrative driven games. I just don't. I still think there's a lot left on the table. I still think that there's a lot of creativity left. I still think that it's a growing market, and it has been, and it is. I mean, year over year for console manufacturing has gone up. So it's not like they're not making money. And then we have to ask the question. We just have to. How
and
much greed is involved in this as well? We just have to ask that question. Now, we don't need an answer, but just ask yourselves that, because we all want to see Sony as the console, the video game maker, which they are, but they're also human, they're also a business, and they're also just people. How much greed is involved into making these decisions?
so somebody in the chat, Chris Coleman, said, I think Sony is returning to their SOE strategy without having a separate division. And so I was starting to think, I was like, SOE, that was like PlayStation 3. So that was like a deep cut.
What's SOE?
And so Sony Online Entertainment.
Oh, okay, yeah.
If it was an online multiplayer game back in the day, you'd flip over
Yeah, yeah.
the box and it would say SOE on it. Uh, and so I looked and I was like, man, that I feel like that's from PlayStation 3. So I looked it up real quick, and yes, Sony Online Entertainment sold and becomes Daybreak Game Company. That's from PC Gamer, and that was back on February 2nd of 2015. But yeah, I mean, maybe, but I really want to hit on something you said, Will, because I think you're right in two areas. One, journalists don't talk about that enough. Like, what are they, why are they doing these things? What is actually, like, what gears are actually turning that make them do this? I'm not a journalist, but even this show is very, very reactive, right? Like, we get a piece of news, we cover that piece of news. And that's what I've always done, whether it was Thoughts with Thrifty, or when I had other guests on, or since you've been on as the co-host. Like, that's what we've done. We've found news and we've reacted to the news. This is more of a reaction channel, if we're being honest, than a news channel. As a matter of fact, most of your gaming news coverage, all it is reaction to other people, to journalists who actually try to quote unquote sort of kind of cover the news. And we fill in the logical parts that they don't talk about. But you look at it, and yeah, why don't people ask that question? And I think a lot of times, especially on shows like this, we don't get off into the what ifs because that's such a stigma about, like, well, yeah, but you can't prove that, right? Everybody is looking in that console war mentality to be like, oh, well, I can't believe he said this. There's no proof of that. No, you jackass. It's just speculation. It's just what we think might happen. So, like, one of the other things you said was that, are they using PlayStation as this platform to, like, springboard all their other stuff? And I think Sony has been very clear that that's exactly what they're doing. Like, they want their big IPs to have video games and movies and TV shows, and they want to use every branch that Sony is good at and use it in conjunction with PlayStation IPs and with the PlayStation console. Because they realize that that is a massive market for them. I'm honestly surprised it took them this long. But maybe their popularity, their success, the fact that they've dog walked Sega, they've dog walked Xbox now, maybe the fact that they've like reigned supreme Dreamcast like for so long that maybe they're like now they're like okay cool, this is no longer a huge risk.
Well,
Like
Thrifty, that's also why we say all the time that Xbox failures is more than just failures for Xbox. It really affects a lot more than just that side of the gaming world.
I'm sorry, I was can you finish that last sentence? Like repeat that last sentence.
I said that's why Xbox failures is more than just failures for Xbox. It's really a failure to the gaming industry because, like I mentioned earlier, PlayStation is just a business. They're just people like us. And if their confidence is that high, like it was, and this isn't just me, shooting the shit or brainstorming. No, this is historical fact. They did this during the PS3. Go get a second job and all that. Why? Because the PS2 was so powerful. And I mean, like in sales and how it affected the gaming world, that they for real thought they can put out $1,000 console, and I'm exaggerating, of course, a
It
thousand
was
dollar
fucking
console
close. It
and
was
just
six ninety
sell.
nine, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, and at the time we're talking to early 2000s money, right?
Like
Um,
it was 6.99. I think that was the
and then
total.
yeah, no, it was, and they thought they can for real sell 300 million copies of this thing, and they were unstoppable, and they got some of that humble pie and really reevaluated themselves. And without the PS3 failure, the PS4 wouldn't have been what it was. I mean, the end of the PS3 life wouldn't have been what it was if it wasn't for the way that it started off.
Yeah, no, I've so that is maybe that's why everybody has like the PS2 as their best and favorite PlayStation console because maybe most of everybody who was playing them back then was like me and go, well, shit, I have a pretty cool PS2 right here. I can't spend $700 on a PS3. Looks like I'm sticking with a PS2 for a while. Like,
Bro, so many people did. Oh, and one thing that I wanted to say, just to kind of back up your what you were saying about speculation, guys, that's ignorant because any major news network in the world, 80% of it is speculation because they don't have all the details. They hear the news, they break it to you for 5 minutes, and then the rest of the hour they're speculating, and they have different panel members and different speculations and different opinions, and that's what the news does. We don't have to be. That's the beautiful thing about podcasts like these and others is we get to ask the questions. We obviously know that we don't know, and if you know something, we say it. We read it here. This is our source. This is where we got it from. But 90% of the time, we're giving our opinion. There's nothing wrong with that. You all do it every single day online. Now, some people are very literal, meaning if there's no evidence, there's no article, then you shouldn't be talking about it. Where's the fun in that? Come on, guys. Where's the fun in that? That's like playing a game and going step by step to what the guide is telling you to do. It's like, okay, yeah, you can beat the game that way, or you can just go in, play the game, fail, die, redo the map to unlock that one thing that you had to unlock later on in order to go back and get it. Like, come on, that's the color of life. That's the color of the topics that we talk about.
so funny enough, you talked about guides and everything, and that just reminded me. When I was younger, I used to get a guide for all of the JRPGs I played. So Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9, 10, and I used them a lot at the beginning of 8. I didn't use it so much for 7, but at the beginning of Final Fantasy 8, I used it a lot. And I noticed myself looking at the guide more than I was actually playing the game. So I stopped. And then the guides just became like a, oh, I'm stuck in this underwater sewer system where you got to activate levers and go up and down ladders, and you had to figure out exactly the right pattern to get yourself out. Absolutely. I used a guide for that all the time. But like everything else, I didn't want to know. I didn't want to have it spoiled because when you know exactly what to do, and like in those guides, especially all the Final Fantasy ones, all of those had like, hey, when you're fighting this boss, have all of this stuff equipped. Here's the level you should be at. Here's the party members you should have. And it just like you'd go in there and the fight would last 3 minutes and you'd be like, oh, okay, cool. And then you move on to the next. Like it just took away
The
all the
excitement.
gameplay aspect. Well, yeah. Not only that though, it took away all the gameplay aspects of the game. Trying, figuring out what works, figuring out what doesn't. Like, so you were talking about button mashers earlier and how you can just hit square. I have tried and made it through 2 worlds in Jedi Survivor by pressing square. I got to the third one and I hadn't been using any of my force powers. I hadn't been using anything. And I got my ass kicked when they started putting 3 or 4 enemies that could shoot lasers at you, along with another one that could charge you and shoot lasers at you, along with another one that has a bow that has these spikes on the end of it, and you're like, okay, I had to stop and I had to look at the in-game menus and remember, okay, here's how I do all my force stuff. Here's how I do all of that. Okay, cool. Because I didn't pay attention to any of it. Because I was like, oh, I don't need it. Hell, Will, you and I were talking that I felt like I had the game on too low of a difficulty because it felt so easy. Well, since then, apparently I hadn't made it far enough. Because since then, it's been like, okay, this is not hard, but it's not easy and I have to pay attention to what I'm doing. And so like it's that type of it's just that type of game. And I love guides, but I also understand that if you just stare at a guide, you're really ripping out most of what the game wants you to do. And because they want you to figure it out, they want you to have fun and explore. They want you to find all the little seeds and things like that. And every time you do, it's like, well, we need to get these planted in the garden. These would be great for the garden. And like they want you to find all that shit. They want you to go around and explore and get all your force ups. And I know I'm talking about Jedi Survivor a lot. It's because that's the game I'm playing right now, and it's amazing. Don't wait for the video. It's amazing. But like using guides and things like that, like those just understand that if you use them like I do. Like unless you really just want to beat the game super quick, just use them like I do. If you get stuck, like so Tomb Raider is another good example. The old Tomb Raider series. Well, not old series, the new reboot that's old now. Uh, there were several of the little like tombs that you had to go into that had little puzzles, and after about 10-15 minutes of walking around and trying to figure it out, I would hop up on Google real quick. Hey, how do I beat this puzzle here? And then I'd follow it and I'd go to the next section. But like that's because I'd already tried to explore all my options. And so, anyways, I got really sidetracked on that, and that's my fault. But back to back to the future of mobile gaming. It's gonna die. AAA mobile gaming is gonna die. They shouldn't have done it. They shouldn't have taken resources from that. I know they probably made a ton of money doing it, but Apple doesn't look like the morons here. Does that make sense? Like if if PlayStation releases a game and Apple pays them to put it on there, there's like a handful of people that know, hey, Apple paid them to put this on here. Everybody else looks at it exactly the way I did before Josh was like, you know what, Apple probably paid them. I didn't even think of that. What I thought of was Capcom put money and resources and energy into this, and it failed. That's not a good look for your company. To the general public, I understand that there's people like Josh who are like, no, 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 no. This is actually the way this worked. Apple wanted it on here. Apple probably gave them money to do so. They probably made more money than what they spent making it, so they came out ahead. Even if that is 100% true, you still have the bad publicity from it. And you still have the fact that your name is attached to a critical failure on that device. I understand Resident Evil is not a critical failure, but like you have it on that device, and it's just not a good look. And so I hope that people and companies will be like, you know what? We don't want to just do this and waste our time on it, even if you're going to give us a lot of money. I hope they're like the dude from Japan Studios is like, you know what? That's not what we want to do. And Josh, I agree. 2013 Tomb Raider, is it already 2013? It's already 11 years old. Huh. Yeah, 2013 Tomb Raider is fantastic. Absolute stunning, stunning video games. Uh, if y'all haven't played those yet, if you've been like under a rock somewhere, you need to play every single one of them. The third one is extremely short, but they kind of made up for it with a lot of the downloadable content you could do. Uh, but still a great, great story all the way around.
And
Uh,
they're on sale right now.
they're what?
They're on sale right now.
Yes, they are. Every single one. If I didn't already own them, I'd buy them again. Like, I absolutely love them. And if you're like, well, I hated the old Tomb Raider, so I haven't played one since, it's totally different. Like, she actually moves normally now. 30 FPS is one of the best games ever. I agree, Josh. Or I agree, Hero. 30 FPS game reviews. Want something weird, people, and reverse engaging the iOS numbers. Something weird, people are reverse engaging the iOS numbers and figured out Capcom made more money on iOS than Xbox. uh, Will, did you hear that? they were
Yeah,
looking.
dude.
They
They
were
probably
looking
did.
at the sales numbers for iOS versus Xbox, and they made more on mobile selling 2,000 copies than they made on Xbox. Guys, this is what I'm saying. The jokes write themselves. I don't have to say anything. I just have to laugh my ass off, and y'all get to laugh with us. That's that's how this works. Hey Grim, hey, I don't think I could have beat Dark Souls 1 without looking some help on the internet. Ain't no shame in that. Absolute. Listen, Dark Souls and Souls games, those are totally different. That's like a whole separate fucking like ecosystem over there. You do absolutely whatever and everything that you can to break the game. It doesn't matter. I was talking to Warwana about this with the way I played Elden Ring. Because I probably put 15, 20 hours into Elden Ring. And I got past Margot and did all that. And I mentioned it before. I beat him in under like 2 minutes, I think. I think it was like a minute and 30 seconds. The whole video from start to finish was 3 minutes long. And I beat him and I was like, oh, that's really cool. Then I got to the next boss and I couldn't do it. And I got to the next boss again and I couldn't do it. And I couldn't do it. But the reason I beat Margaret the Feld so damn quickly was because when I got the game, I was getting my ass kicked. And so I looked up ways to fast level. And there's this little trick you can do where you go like up a mountain, around the back, and then when you're around there, you kill this dragon. It can't move, it can't see you because of how you got over to it, and so nothing happens. It just lays there, and basically you hack it for like 5-10 minutes, and you get 100,000 gold or whatever the currency is, and you use that to level up your character. Then you spend another 2 hours quickly going to all these other little locations, avoiding every combat period. And you get the glint staff, you get something else, you get two of the summons, and then you go fight. And what happens is you can sit back at the edge of the arena, so to speak, and just keep firing off your magic and letting your summons do the work and letting your, I don't think they're called summons. Whatever they're called. The things that you can like bring out that like fight with you. Not the character, not the person, but the little elementals or whatever the hell they are. And so
Pretty
uh
sure there's summons, Therapy.
are they still summons?
Pretty sure, but War will be the expert on
Yeah,
that.
I've been looking at chat waiting for him to respond. But like, you get those, and you can literally just cheese the entire thing. And I was talking to him about it because a buddy of mine had said, "Hey, listen, however you can beat one of these type of games, the devs, the community, nobody gives a shit. Like that's the point of these games is to find broken shit like that and exploit it." And I was like,
Unless you put it on easy mode, they don't like that.
right. Well, Dark Souls doesn't have an easy mode, but they do have ways to basically cheese the entire game, which I think that's pretty damn cool if I'm being honest. Like there's not many gamers or not many game companies that are like, "Yes, please break our game." We know that in order to beat this game, you're gonna have to pull off some bullshit. Like that's pretty cool. And that's one of the things I do like about the Dark Souls community and the Souls community is that they're pretty much of the mind that says, "Hey, listen, however you beat the game, that's how you beat it. However you beat this hard boss, that's how you beat it." Like, and so I always thought that was pretty cool. Uh, he wrote down under said, "Thrifty, do you like Elden Ring? Asking for a friend. I played 12 to 15 hours of it, and I've never touched it again, and I don't plan on it. Those are not my style of games." At the time, I had tried uh, Bloodborne, and I actually like Bloodborne. I actually might try Bloodborne again. I love the setting of it. It's a beautiful setting. Uh, but
Well, I just tried Bloodborne again last month, and it still kicked my
it
ass.
still kicks your ass. Right. So, thankfully, Will, did you get the game for free with your PS5?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So did I. And that's what made me try it. Because I was like, oh, I would never spend money on this, but they gave it to me for purchasing a PS5. That sounds great. And
I
it's
did buy it for my collection too, my physical collection.
as hard as shit. And so what I do with Dark Souls games, because I try one out about once every couple months. Maybe nah, I'd say I try out about 2 Dark Souls games a year, Souls style games. And I swear to goodness, I have tried. I tried the anime one, Code Vein. That game is hard as shit. It's hard, and I did a first impressions
Is Cold
video.
Vein Therapy a Souls-like
It
too?
is. It
Wow, I didn't know.
absolutely is. And I did a first impressions and was like, you know what? This game is very user friendly. It's very simple, and I apparently I hadn't played enough because I kept playing, and then I got to this next area, and I was like, holy shit balls! Like this is oppressive. This is hard. Code Vein is so good. Love it. Yeah, I know. Warwana, sorry I was in a mission on TFD. Wow, playing those live service titles. Look at Warwana go. So much for
So I
loving.
blame everything on Warwana. He's the reason Sony does live service
Yeah, it's
games.
just his fault. The whole fucking thing
Yeah,
is his
just
fault.
him.
He's also the reason why every indie game has to be a Souls-like. It's just all of it's his fault.
Oh yeah, and also that new game that comes out, Flintlock, I think it's called, is actually getting or PS, what is it, Push Square gave it a pretty good review. So that surprised me a little bit because that's another Souls game that comes out tomorrow, I think. Tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah, and what sucks, and this isn't what sucks, I guess, but man, I
No, it
saw
sucks.
I saw the gameplay for it, and not the gameplay, but the teaser trailer, and I was like, oh, that's gonna be cool. That's gonna be cool. And then I saw it was a fucking Souls-like, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, what? Because at some point, like I said, I am very fucking picky about the games I play. I just am. Occasionally, I'll jump out of my comfort zone, and I might enjoy it, I might not. The game that released called Humankind, that was a really fun puzzle game. That was awesome. I didn't think I was going to enjoy that game, but that was really fun. And also, if you want to kind of recreate the anxiety that you might have had when you played Sega and you played Sonic on the Sega and you were underwater and like you when you were almost dying, that intense anxiety, watching humans fall off of ledges repeatedly will give you that anxiety. So if you haven't played it yet, it is free on PlayStation Plus Premium, but and it might be I think it's free on Extra as well. Go play the game Humankind. They have a VR mode in it, but basically you're this little dog that's trying to save all of these humans by putting like changing the direction they go by how you bark and putting up these little like jump zones that help them jump up to the next platform, and you're trying to get enough of them saved so they don't die. And so, anyways, but like a small game like that, way out of my wheelhouse, would have never touched it before. But part of being in a gaming community like we have here, uh, it's for stuff like that. Like I can't tell you how many times somebody posts a link of an older game that they're trying out, and somebody, a lot of times it's Josh, will go, man, that game is fucking amazing. That game is great. Such a fun time. Played that with my kid. Like, and we all have those.
Well, Thrifty, that's all that what you're explaining is the new console cover. I mean, video game case cover. The clips that we see. When we were kids, we walked that into the store and we picked up the game and we saw the cover and we're like, "Oh, this looks badass." Then you turn it around and you read whatever information they had and more of the pictures, like, "Oh, this is badass," and that's all the information you got. And nowadays we have access to more, obviously, but that's how it starts off. One of the guys on the Discord will post something or we'll see something on social media, and that catches our attention. And sometimes we get disappointed, right? Like, oh, this looks badass, and it's a strategy game, or for me, a turn-based game,
So
or a
true.
Souls game, or a shooter for others. Like, oh, damn, I don't like shooters. But yeah, that's what I related to.
Yeah, and I actually had that experience during the State of Play because they showed the Marvel game, and I was like, "Oh, that looks really fucking awesome. That looks so cool. I'm gonna be playing that shit day one, and it's free to play. Hell yes." I was like, "That's gonna be fucking sick." And then someone was like, "That's a hero shooter. I didn't think you liked hero shooters." And I was like, "I fucking don't. What are you talking about?" And so I look it up and get more information outside of just what the trailer was, and I was like, "Gosh, dang it. It is a fucking hero shooter." Well, never mind, because that's not going to be fun. I don't want it. I was thinking it was going to be more of like a DC universes, just with Marvel characters, or like a Marvel Heroes Omega, and like I was expecting that. And when I saw that it was a freaking hero shooter, I was like, man, that's. And I think it was either you or War of Wanna that pointed it out, uh, because y'all are the two. Well, y'all and Josh are the three that mostly call me on my bullshit. And so like when y'all said that, I was like, man, that fucking sucks. But it's just like Flintlock. I was like, man, this looks really cool. And now you said it was a Souls like, and I'm like, man, I don't. Why does every game have to be a Souls like? Why? And granted,
Also,
go ahead.
before I forget, I know that we're not going to cover this topic, so I'm just going to throw it out there. We'll discuss it at the Discord. So, guys, please follow our Discord if you're not in there already.
Links in the
But I'm going to look
description.
the links in the description. I'm gonna try to find the link or the video. I'm pretty sure. I'm like 80% sure it was a video I saw on YouTube. Where Flintlock, the rumor is it went through development troubles because it's a DEI game. So if I find the link, I will throw it in the Discord. Follow us there, please.
Yeah, we didn't get into that tonight. I'm sure there's going to be more stuff coming out about it over the next little bit. We might cover it next week. We might not. We have a really good dynamic here where if we get to our topics and all of them, we do. It used to stress me out. It doesn't anymore. I love talking video games. We spent 45 minutes to an hour at the very beginning of this talking just about games and mechanics in games that stop us from buying games. Like that's that's absolutely nuts. Like, we have a group of gamers here that I want to invite anybody else here who might be listening to join in. Like, we are all just gamers. You're going to come here, you're going to get some of the news, you're going to get some of the top headlines, you're going to get some of those things, but at the end of the day, we're just going to gush over the games that we've been playing. Or we're going to be talking shit about them. Like, there was a time last year after Final Fantasy 16 that literally everything I touched felt like shit. It just bad. Like, I had no desire to do anything on the PlayStation whatsoever because every game that I touched was just awful. And then Spider-Man came out. Now it cured me. But like, there's so many times like I want to go back and play the Assassin's Creed games. Magic the Gathering just released an Assassin's Creed special set, and like going through some of the cards and like looking at them brought back a lot of fond memories from playing the Ezio collection. Well, back then it wasn't a full collection, but like from playing the Ezio collection or playing as Altair or even playing as Connor from Assassin's Creed 3. Like, a lot of those were really cool. I even want to go back and try Syndicate because several of the cards that they printed for the set were from Syndicate, like Jacob and Evie Fry. And I was like, man, this is like that type of stuff. When you can take your IP and get it into a different market and it be successful, that helps boost that IP. And it literally makes sense. Like, I had kind of a Fallout moment, right? Like, people watch the Fallout show and they're like, man, I want to go back and play those. And so what happened? Everybody went back out and Fallout sales went through the roof because people wanted to play the game. I would bet that the same thing is currently happening, probably on a much larger scale. Actually, definitely on a much larger scale. But I bet they saw a crossover uptick in people buying the Ezio collection or people buying Assassin's Creed 3 or Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Like, I bet because of the way they did their IP, that worked. But it's one of those things like I want to play some of these older games, and I'm really like almost on the edge of just saying fuck everything new, and I'm gonna go back and build up my Assassin's Creed like stuff. And I can't. I want to get back in. I want to go see Leonardo da Vinci. I want to go see Benjamin Franklin. I want to go see all of these like iconic characters that are based off of real people and this the history. And anyways, that's a whole side note. But Will, you're always so big on going back and checking out all these older games and older titles and things like that. And people talk all the time about gaming comfort food, right? Like, I've talked about it before. I have certain games that I don't normally delete, and if I do, they're re-downloaded in a couple weeks because I just like having the game available to me at all times. Like,
Well, something that I also want to bring up, and I do too. I have Astrobot that I've never deleted it, and it never will get deleted. But
'cause
also I want to let you guys know I've been gaming a lot more on the PS3 right since I got it. But something I want to say about that real quick is that it's awesome. What Thrifty said, he's 100% correct on that. But I also want to remind you guys that it's not all sunshine and butterflies either. Like for some reason, I've been finding out that on the PS3, the functions that we have now for the PS4, PS5, where L2 is aim, R2 is shoot, that function wasn't a commonality on the PS3. If it had an aim button, it'd be L1 and R and L2. I'm sorry, L1 for aim, R1 for shoot. And a lot of games are like that, where the R2 is just some button like switch weapons, crouch, sprint, like just crazy. And I'm like, how the hell did we do this back then? So FYI, like, and another thing, not all games let you remap the controller. Like that
uh,
wasn't really a thing back then. During the PS3 era, it became more flexible, but it was still just like, I don't want to say starting out, but it was still in that early stage of remapping. So it is awesome, and I still recommend to do it. But just make sure you do a little bit of research. If you're like me, who has a hard time adapting to new controls, like I have a, like, for example, Dying Light 2. I bought that game day one, and I really wanted to play, and I was really excited, but I put it off because I could not get over R1 being the jump. And I Googled it. I mean, I did everything I could to try to switch that damn button, but the game will not because it's part
mhm.
of the gameplay mechanic. And after finally admitting it and coming to terms with it and just practicing, now I understand why the R1 is jump and the way that it is, and I couldn't see it any other way. But just remember that. Do a little bit of a research before you go and invest on a game from that generation because it may not be what you want, or it has the option to change it. And if you're not the type to adapt, then I don't want you to lose out on it. But I highly recommend you go back, guys. When we talk about games and the simplicity of gameplay and how fun the gameplay was, and cutscenes were literally just just to let you know what's going on, and then to set you up for the next, chapter of the game. And a cutscene's literally 30 seconds. Like it just it baffles me in comparison today, where a cutscene can run 2, 3, 4 minutes, right? And it's
Shit,
just,
sometimes
man, like,
longer. Good God.
sometimes longer, yes, but man, they're just the ingenuity of these stories. Like it's bringing a gaming side out of me that I forgot I had. It's bringing out something. It's like I'm excited, And look, I game a lot, so my excitement for gaming isn't maybe like how somebody who games a couple times a week and just for a couple hours, and they're like, oh, I can't, like, today's my gaming day. I can't wait to go home and game. Every day when I'm at work, I'm like, oh, I do want to go home and game, but that's more of like kind of doing my usual, right? But lately, it's been I can't wait to go home to game because of how awesome these games were. And man, for all you guys out there, I know that graphics are a big deal. And look, some of these games are eyesore, man. Like they did not age well at all. But just the story, the game design, heck, even the gameplay with their janky controls really make up for it.
Yeah, and one of the things that was said in the chat was they had zero customization on it. Warawana. Here's what I was going to highlight. Warawana said, "Shout out to PC for allowing remapping keys for a long time. LOL on most games anyway." Yeah, Thank you, PC Master Race Warawana. We know. We know. He's still trying to tell me to get a Steam account so I can get all the free games and an Epic account to get all the free games.
I recommend that too, Thrifty, just because you never know where you're gonna be in 5, 10 years, man. Like, look at
Hell
me, I
to the
got a
no.
Steam Deck now, a Steam Deck, a handheld, and I have like 40 games. And I sometimes go in there, like on vacation, I was able to play a couple, but it's free, doesn't hurt anything.
Oh, sure. Sure, sure, sure. I have no desire to do that. None. None whatsoever. And I'm not dogging y'all for doing that. Yes, I'll poke fun at
Wait, your name
Warawana.
is Thrifty though.
Yeah, but just because of
Well,
that,
no, no, then you gotta change your name
no, just
because
because
you're not
of
being
that.
thrifty.
Wait, how is buying? Hang on. Let me check this shit real quick. We're gonna do that real time check on. How is buying a? Let's see. How much is it? Your games. Can I just shop? Is there a way to buy? How is buying a $700 or $550 little tiny screen being thrifty?
I'm not talking about the console. I'm talking about the free games.
Oh, you're talking
You
about.
already
Oh,
have a
okay.
PC.
Yeah, but I don't know. No.
Yeah, I understand that, but it's still free games.
But why would I choose to play on a 32-inch monitor when I have a 65-inch flat screen?
Because you can hook up your PC to your flat screen.
Ew. Ew. That
The
that
point is, it's free games,
yeah
big name games too, big AAA games.
yeah okay sure. Uh, Josh Ayers said MGS4. There was a 45-minute. Dude, I was playing Jedi last night, and I swear to God, there was a 15-minute long cutscene, and I literally paused halfway through the cutscene, went and used the restroom, refilled my water, and came back and sat back down for it. I was like, man, can we? And it was a big story point. It was a big character development moment, and I'm like, I understand this is important, but like that's that's a lot. Like I love movie games, but I also remember when you were playing a game back in the day. Of course, I'm old. I get it. I listen, I'm a few years away from old man yells at clouds, okay? Like I have always been more of an older soul. So looking at this, I know it sounds like, well, you're just complaining about the new generation of games. Not really. And I know I've referenced older titles a lot tonight, but that's kind of the mentality I'm in, mainly because of all the Assassin's Creed stuff. And Josh mentioned it. I want to go back and play The Witcher again. I still haven't booted it up and tried it with the new graphics. I haven't done that yet, and I really want to. And, like, anyways, so,
But Thrifty, it's very important you say that because now we're in a situation like Hellblade. That wasn't a video game. That was not a video game
mm-mm.
at all. There's nothing video game about that game. What? You use a controller? Ain't no way. No way. So it's very important you say that for that specific thing because sometimes these guys want to be more movie directors than video game makers, even though they're working out a development studio.
I remember when cutscenes, they were a treat, right? Like, they were like, oh, you're going to a buddy's house, that's cool. And then mom comes in and she's like, hey guys, I just ordered pizza for y'all. Holy shit, that's so cool. I'm already having a blast hanging out with my buddy, and now we got pizza on the way. That's fucking great. It's the same thing that would happen back when I would play uh, on the PlayStation 1 or the PS2. Like, you get to a little cutscene, and it was like, oh, that's so good. Oh, that's so fantastic. Look at that. That's so cool. And then like 20, 30 seconds later it'd go away. And you'd like, oh man, that was awesome. Did y'all see that? That was so freaking sick. And I don't know. Maybe some of this is just it's getting late at night and old man yells at clouds comes out more when I get tired. But like there is a part of it that having too long of cutscenes can kind of take away from the games. And Hero, I get it. Too much cinematics, but I hate reading in games. I get that. Trust me, voiceover work is one of the things that is massively important to me. And that's why the game Scarlet Nexus, they had voiceover, but it wasn't all the time voiceover. And in a couple of my review videos, I've said this. Listen, if you're going to do voiceovers, do it all the time. If you're not going to do voiceovers, then don't do it. Like, at all. Except maybe in cutscenes. That's when I'd be like, okay, cool, yeah, you can do voiceovers in cutscenes. But, like, in game, if you're going to have it to where my character interacts with the other characters using voice, but then you're going to send me to these places that have shops and stuff like that that don't have any voice, that is kind of annoying. At the same time, Final Fantasy 16 had everything voiced, but they said the same line every time you went up to them, which is also annoying. And so like there's this here's the fucking deal. Here's the deal. No matter who you are or what you game on, no company is going to please you as a gamer 100%. Like, hell, all the developers in the world right now can't keep Will satiated on the amount of games he wants to play. Like, it's just a fact. There's
They can if they came out with more single player narrative
right,
driven games.
right. If they came out with more games, exactly. Like, I'll never forget when you it was during the state of play conversations, And you were like, man, there's only like 2 or 3 games I want to buy. And Henry, I think it was Henry, it was either Henry or Quiet, was like, nobody is going to be able to keep up with the demand that Will has for video
Oh, that
games.
was Henry. Yeah, that was
I
Henry.
thought that was Henry, yeah. Like, and it's so true. Like, Will wants all the games. And so even for him, a guy who plays every type of video game out there, there's still a downside because they can't make them fast enough. And so like it's you're never going to please every gamer, and we can all be nitpicky. But at the end of the day, here's a couple things I want you to do. I want you to go follow Will on X and go follow his YouTube channel. Both things are linked in the description below. I want you to like, I want you to subscribe, I want you to comment after the video, go back and re-listen to some of this, see some stuff that I said that was retarded, or stupid, sorry, I can't say the R word. Uh, but like, go back and listen to this. Comment on the video. It helps out a ton. Also, thank you for everybody who's been here tonight. We do have to end this. It is now 12:15. So the other thing I want you to do though is, as a gamer, remember that these games that come out, that maybe it's an IP that you love, and you see it and you're like, man, they did this one thing that I just absolutely can't stand. Maybe give the game a shot. On sale, of course. Like, on sale, get that, but give the game a shot. Because you might have a moment like I did with The Witcher 3 or with Diablo 4. Or you might have a moment like I had with Sakuna of Rice and Ruin. But you never know until you try. And that's one of the things that Will has kind of like beat into me. Well, Will, Josh, Wara, Nelson, pretty much our entire community. Hero, like him and I play like we like a lot of the same type of games, but like it's not always going to hit for you. Thrifty, play BioShock. I know, I know, I know. Let me just add that to the list of shit I have to do. I know. I know. I'm going to play BioShock. I have all of them, but I. Anyways, I will get to it. And then
You know, that's not fair. They're always telling you should play something. How
that's
come they
because
never tell me I should
that's
play
because you
something? Like,
play everything. Shut up.
not, I don't play everything.
You do play
Please give me
everything,
some suggestions.
bro.
I haven't played. I can't even name you what I haven't played because I don't know what I don't know. But that's not the point. I
Okay,
want recommendations
have you
too.
played The Witcher 3?
No, but that's because I don't like the controls. But I do own it and tried it numerous times.
Mm. Try it again. Play 4 hours. That's all I want you to do. If you try it again and you play 4 hours, I will never mention it again to you as a game you need to try.
Well, I just bought The Witcher 2 on the 360 physical, so I'm planning on doing what you said anyways because, well, I own it. Well, yeah.
But that's what I had to do because I tried it twice before it finally clicked with me on the third time. Uh,
Got it.
anyways, guys, have a good night. Will, do you have anything to say before we get out of here?
No, man. Thanks for stopping in, guys. Please follow or join our Discord. Links in the description.
Fantastic, guys. Uh, as always, the main thing I want you